Su-hong and his friend were locked in an intense sparring match. And right after his punch was blocked by an elbow of his friend, the guy got pushed back a couple of steps. He stops the training session, whining about how his arm now hurts like hell. But this also means that Su-hong's diamond fist had improved once again. When the guy asked Su-hong whether he'd reached subtlety, he confirmed that he had just 2 days ago. You see, subtlety was one of this world's martial arts realms. And any martial arts mastery can be divided into 5 levels: entry, proficiency, subtlety, great accomplishment, and perfection. His friend was totally blown away by this, saying that in terms of the diamond fist, no one else in their class even comes close to him. Anyway, Su-hong was already eager to get back to training, but his friend begs for a break. In fact, he wasn't going to stick around to keep sparring with a training maniac. Plus, he was hungry and needed to go home for a meal. On his way out, he bid his farewell to teacher Lee, who reprimands him for leaving in his gym clothes. The middle-aged man then walks over to Su-hong to talk about him applying for the martial division. He asks why he still hasn't paid the $30,000 yuan enrollment fee. Su-hong asks for more time because of his family situation, but the teacher replied that his hands were tied. Rules were rules after all. Anyway, after the practice sessions ended, the gym was completely empty, with just Su-hong training by himself. Su-hong is left alone and frustrated, stewing over that $30,000 yuan fee. He recalls his parents passing away when he was only 3 years old in a beast disaster. Since then, he's been living with his aunt and uncle who totally support his training. Being a martial artist was a super lucrative career since the world had been overrun by ferocious beasts. That's why Su-hong feels guilty for being a burden on them. Even though he had been training with everything he's got, Su-hong heads home to his small apartment. But from the doorway, he overhears his aunt and uncle talking about being short on rent money. They decide to prioritize their nephew's enrollment fee because they don't want to hold the boy back. To make it happen, his uncle considers stopping his health medication while his aunt thinks about getting a second job. Su-hong's heart breaks hearing the sacrifice they're willing to make for him. Even so, he snaps out of his thoughts and forces a smile before entering. When he walks in, Su-hong greets the two, and his aunt fusses at him for training late again. He offers to give his uncle a massage, but the man just tells him to get some rest. The scene then shifts to Su-hong's room. Lying in bed and thinking things over, he decides he's going to solve his problems on his own. To do that, Su-hong figures there's only one place he can make some fast cash. The next day, Su-hong heads to a super modern building surrounded by a small forest. The place is actually an underground fight club, where the only rule is to win. The announcer introduces the fighter of the night, the Minotaur, who is none other than a disguised Su-hong. To take home the $60,000 prize, he needs to win 4 fights in a row. The crowd looks at this mysterious fighter over and murmurs that he must be a rookie. The announcer lady tells Su-hong to hype up the crowd, but he has no idea what to do, so she explains that he needs to taunt everyone. Su-hong gets the message. With that, he shouts that he's invincible and calls for all the weaklings to step up. The audience is shocked by his arrogance and figures he won't last long. But it gets the crowd fired up, and they start roaring for the fight to finally begin. Su-hong feels the tension in the air, but stays focused on fighting to get that money. Soon a guy in a rat mask climbs into the ring to face Su-hong. Su-hong analyzes his opponent and spots a weakness in his stance. The opponent rushes in with a punch while Su-hong seems distracted. Su-hong quickly raised his open fist for a lightning-fast counter against the rat mask dude. With a single well-aimed punch to his opponent's face, Su-hong shows off his power. The impact is so intense that the rat guy gets sent flying across the ring. Su-hong celebrates his first win and immediately calls for the next challenger. The crowd goes absolutely wild over the Minotaur's impressive performance. A new fighter enters the arena and says Su-hong won't be so lucky this time. Su-hong invites him to fight, thinking he can use this guy to test his strength. The opponent wastes no time and charges straight at Su-hong. But Su-hong blocks the guy's punch with his own fist, creating a huge shockwave. The opponent is stunned by his strength, but Su-hong knows he's stronger. Seizing the opportunity, he lands a solid punch right in the big guy's face. Su-hong notices that the guy put too much power into his punch, leaving his waist wide open. So, he takes advantage of the opening and delivers a powerful kick right to his side. The blow is so brutal, it sends the fighter flying clean out of the arena. And just like that, Su-hong scores his second victory in a row without breaking a sweat. He stands alone in the ring, waiting for the next opponent to step up. In a luxurious private room, a man in a suit remarks that the Minotaur is strong for an apprentice. This guy sees that the Minotaur already has 3 wins and decides to rig the next fight. At that moment, a masked fighter offers to take him on, and the boss tells him to hide his true strength. Meanwhile, Su-hong thinks beating these guys was a piece of cake with his new fist technique. He refocuses knowing he's just one more win away from the 60,000 he needs. Suddenly, he sees his final opponent. The crowd recognized the new challenger as the White Fox and was in an uproar because he was a quasi-martial artist, which was basically cheating. Su-hong knows this fight is going to be tough, but he can't even think about losing. The White Fox cracks a smug little smirk, showing he's feeling pretty confident. He tells Su-hong not to be scared because he knows his limits. With both of them in the ring, the announcer calls the final match. As soon as the bell rings, they both dash toward each other at high speed. Su-hong decides to go all out right from the first attack. He throws a powerful punch, but the White Fox stops it with an equally forceful punch of his own. Su-hong is shocked when he feels the power behind it and realizes this guy isn't just a simple quasi-martial artist. Then it hits him the guy is a real martial artist, just hiding his strength. The White Fox then calls out Su-hong for getting distracted. He unleashes a move called the Thunder Fist, landing a direct hit on Su-hong. The impact is brutal, and Su-hong feels the overwhelming power of a true martial artist. In the audience, people recognize the technique and already count the Minotaur out. The White Fox attacks relentlessly, taunting Su-hong to fight back and show his real strength. Su-hong can only defend knowing that if this keeps up, he's going to lose. He needs to find an opening to counterattack, but his opponent isn't giving him an inch. In a brief lapse, one of the White Fox's punches gets through Su-hong's defense. The blow lands right on Su-hong's face with tremendous force. The punch sends Su-hong flying to the ground, leaving him completely stunned. Lying on the floor, Su-hong's consciousness starts to fade after the attack. The White Fox steps on his mask and informs him he won't be getting a single cent of the prize money. But he makes Su-hong an offer to join them, and he'll get the money, but Su-hong refuses. White Fox then threatens him, saying he can't afford the price of refusal. Down on the arena floor, Su-hong questions their honor as martial artists. The White Fox loses his patience, seeing that there's nothing left to talk about. So, he decides he's going to finish off Su-hong so he can never fight again. The threat echoes in Su-hong's mind as he thinks about his dream. With that, the White Fox rushes in with a spinning kick to end the fight, but Su-hong dodges at the last second. The White Fox is taken by surprise. Even after that beating, Su-hong gets back up, surrounded by a fiery aura. The opponent is shocked that he withstood his punches and is still standing. On his feet and driven purely by determination, Su-hong thinks of his family and all they've sacrificed for his dream. He knows he can't accept a future where he fails them all. Suddenly, a mysterious screen appears and asks what he would sacrifice for his faith and family. Then, with a furious scream, Su-hong answers that he would sacrifice everything. As an aura worth over 1 million explodes around him, the system asks if he's willing to pay the price, and Su-hong yells that he was. All of a sudden, Su-hong is transported to a strange, digital-looking space. As he wonders where he is, a sinister shadow emerges. Before him, a golden figure appears with an overwhelming presence. This entity says it will give him a chance, and then it begins to fade away. The being's golden light flies towards Su-hong and completely envelopes him. A golden system screen appears, floating in front of him. It's all of Su-hong's attributes like vitality, spirit, and his skills. Su-hong gets curious and touches the screen to see if it's a touch screen. His finger goes right to the first mission button to check notification alert on the random mission given. The mission was a tutorial to defeat the White Fox and improve his martial arts. Su-hong wonders what beginner's guide is just as a clone of himself appears, and launches at him. But with pure reflexes, Su-hong dodges the clone's punch. He realizes the clone is using his Dra Fist technique perfectly, just like it says in the manual. Seeing the clone as a master, Su-hong decides he can't miss this chance to learn. He jumps into the fight and starts trading punches with his copy. Su-hong realizes the clone is demonstrating the perfect way to fight, completely overwhelming him. But the clone doesn't hold back and lands a full power punch right in Su-hong's gut. The punch was so strong it sends Su-hong flying backward. He notices his own fist technique has improved and is shocked by how fast he's progressing. With a smile, he understands that this place can level up his skills incredibly quickly. So, the two go back to fighting with everything they've got, continuing the intense training. With every punch, Su-hong's mastery of the Dra Fist grows more and more. They also practice the Void Step and Su-hong's proficiency skyrockets. In a short time, all of his skills are nearing their maximum level. His floating light palm is the first to reach the micro level. Right after, his Void Step reaches the same milestone. With one final punch, his Dra Fist finally achieves the master level. After the training, the clone dissolves into golden light, leaving Su-hong alone and exhausted. As the session ends, the system congratulates him and asks if he wants to return to reality. Su-hong agrees, and in that same instant, he's back in the arena, right in front of the White Fox. His opponent, annoyed by all the weirdness, charges at Su-hong with everything he has. He attacks with his Thunder Fist, trying to end the fight once and for all. But Su-hong dodges the punch with ease, thinking it was way too slow. With unbelievable speed, Su-hong unleashes a powerful punch on his rival. The hit lands square on the opponent's face, shattering his mask into pieces. Su-hong gives him a cold stare, showing his determination after that mighty blow. In the crowd, everyone is in shock at the unbelievable comeback. With that, the White Fox falls in defeat and Su-hong wins the fight. He then turns to the announcer and asks when he's getting his prize money. From his office, the arena boss is stunned that an apprentice has mastered the Dra Fist. Intrigued, he orders his men to follow Su-hong and find out who he is. With the cash in his pocket, Su-hong leaves through a dark city alley. But before he gets close to home, he glances back suspiciously, feeling like he's being followed. Su-hong was quick to ditch the two men who had been tailing him ever since he left the arena. They start to panic because they lost track of Su-hong and had no idea of his real identity either. But unbeknownst to them, Su-hong was quietly above them, hiding in the dark just in between the alley walls. With that, he manages to escape and gets to the safety of a nearby rooftop. Su-hong made his way home. His aunt and uncle are shocked by the cash and ask if he robbed a bank. He lies and says the dojo master sponsored him after seeing his great talent. Su-hong sticks to his story and asks them to trust him. Hearing this, his aunt and uncle are bursting with pride and believe in his promising future. After their talk, Su-hong goes up to the roof to think for a bit. He's relieved to have solved the family's money problems. Su-hong thanks the system for helping him but notices that only his skills have changed. Then, a notification explains that martial value can be used to level up his other stats. Without a second thought, he decides to test it and dumps the points into his vitality. His vitality jumps from 85 to 90. He feels an insane amount of power coursing through his entire body. A pure energy aura completely surrounds him. Looking at his stats, he realizes he's reached the level of a quasi-martial artist. Hyped up, he decides to put all his remaining points into vitality. He notices his injuries have vanished and he feels stronger than ever. Full of energy, he leaps across the rooftops to go test out his current power. He decides to head to school to test his strength on a combat machine. Arriving at Star City No. 1 high school training ground, he approaches what seemed to be a machine used to gauge a person's strength. But it was merely a Tier 1. Nonetheless, Su-hong gets ready and decides to use 70% of his power. With a focused look, he unleashes his most powerful punch yet. The hit smashes into the machine with a devastating impact. He gets a little worried about the force of his own attack. The machine is completely wrecked and he wonders if he was going to have to pay for it. The noise attracts attention, so Su-hong decides to bounce as fast as he can. Just then, an old guy in pajamas shows up and is absolutely livid about the broken machine, immediately suspecting a couple of students, Chun-shan and Li-tu. Furious, the old geezer vows to teach whoever's responsible a serious lesson once school starts. The very next day, all the final year students assembled at the school's gymnasium, and in the lineups, Su-hong noticed a bump on Chun-shan's head and questioned his friend about it. Apparently, Chun-shan was held responsible for smashing the tester in the outdoor drill ground in the middle of the night yesterday and refused to admit it, so he was punished by the principal. Su-hong gave a nervous smile, realizing Chun-shan was made to take the blame for him. In that moment, the principal instructed them to pipe down before introducing his old comrade-in-arms and a Tier 3 martial artist, Chun-tian. He was there to teach them a C-rank martial art, the Thunder Rush Fist. The principal then urges everyone to learn it well. Almost immediately, the crowd was abuzz since a C-rank martial arts taught outside dojos cost hundreds of thousands in tuition. Also, some were amazed upon seeing a Tier 3 martial artist for the first time. Su-hong suddenly recalls his fight with White Fox, noting he used a technique that had the very same name. And he silently acknowledged how powerful this technique truly was, allowing a martial artist to blast out 3 impacts from one punch. If he wanted to learn this kind of C-rank martial art outside, just the registration fee would be at least several $100,000. So with this intel, he was determined to seize this opportunity. Chun-tian took charge and called out to the students, instructing them to quit with their nonsensical chatter and watch as he demonstrates the technique. He will perform the technique 10 times from start to finish, and how much they learn depends on themselves. Chun-tian suddenly shifted his stance, and as he punched the air, he informed them that the Thunder Rush Fist's momentum is fierce and domineering. At the basic level, the punch will emit a sound of thunder. At Proficient, they can strike out 3 sounds. At micro level, 5 sounds. and at mastered level, which was his current realm, 7 sounds. When he was done, he tops it off with what to expect when one reaches the perfect realm. At that realm, the strikeout would emit 9 sounds. However, they shouldn't aim too high for now. Reaching the basic today would be good enough. Chintian then yells for them to try to follow along as he starts the second demonstration. Several hours later, almost every student was exhausted, yet none of them was able to learn the technique. A few were still at it, but there wasn't much hope. Trembling all over as he pants profusely, Su-hong's friend comments on how it was practically next to impossible to learn the Thunder Rush Fist. But when he turned in Su-hong's direction, wanting to know if he'd learned it, the training maniac was nowhere to be seen. And in that very moment, Chun Shan, a classmate of his, declared excitedly that he had successfully reached the basic level. Su-hong's friend got startled for a second there, wondering just how Chun Shan's brain was built. And at this point, it's no wonder everyone calls him a genius. The principal tried praising Chun Shan's achievement as something worthy of noting. After all, he was their school's #1 genius. But Chintian's reply was like a bucket of cold water on his friend's face when asked if he was interested in guiding Chun Sen. Apparently, in other cities, Chun Shan's achievement was just passing level, not something even worth considering as a genius. Anyway, as the 2 old geezers exit the school's gymnasium, Chun Tian was quick to point out how terrible the batch of students were, and for making him come there for nothing. But Principal Lee retorts that having 1 student reach basic was good enough. Was his friend still expecting to find a top-tier genius? Chun Tian comments on how the martial Dao cultivation was extremely cruel, so talent was simply too important. To this, Principal Lee agreed, adding that relying only on hard work without opportunity is absolutely impossible. But in that very moment, the two felt a sudden surge of martial power nearby, and upon a quick search, they saw Su-hong performing a mastered-level Thunder Rush Fist. Chun Tian praised Principal Lee for having an expert in his school. But Principal Lee, shocked and confused as hell, replied that it's impossible because he had never seen or heard of this mysterious person. But looking at Su-hong's clothes from behind left no room for doubts. It was indeed a student from Star City #1 High School. As Su-hong performed the technique once again, Chun Tian comments on how it's been only a day since he thought the technique, and a student was already striking out 7 sounds. Su-hong further stunned the 2 old geezers when he suddenly surpassed Chun Tian and reached the perfect realm. Principal Lee wondered if he had heard wrong. But upon seeing his friend tremble very abruptly, he questioned if there was something wrong with him. Chun Tian simply grinned as he admits that he now finally understands everything. His fist immediately crackled with yellow lightning, and upon performing the Thunder Rush Fist, Chun Tian surprisingly broke through his bottleneck. Principal Lee watched with a look of shock and apprehension after hearing 8 strikeout sounds. And Chun Tian, excited as hell, confirmed that the Thunder Rush Fist he just witnessed gave him the inspiration. Otherwise, he might never have broken through in his lifetime. Anyway, now wasn't the time to talk about such matters. They must quickly go see who the student was. The two leaped over the fence and dashed toward the court, hoping to find out the identity of the student. But they were unexpectedly a bit too late. Su-hong, who had no idea of their presence, had left the very moment he finished performing the 9-sound Thunder Rush Fist. He was on his way to practice, totally oblivious to everything that happened. But what he didn't expect was how tiring this C-rank martial skill would be when cultivating. It even far exceeded the D-rank Vajra Fist. Opening up his system window, he was pleased to see his Thunder Rush Fist already at the perfect realm. His next step was to think of a way to earn martial values and strive to break through to martial artist ASAP. However, Su-hong didn't want to be in a life-and-death battle like last time just to obtain martial value. But he also didn't know if sparring with someone would do the trick. Su-hong arrived at his workplace, the Raging Thunder Dojo. Inside, he walked in to see several trainees practicing diligently. A brown-haired guy walked up to him and asked why he came. Obviously, to train, since that's all he thinks about. As the two were chatting, a violet-haired guy suddenly kicked another trainee to the ground. Furious, he mentions how the guy dare claim his teacher teaches badly. If his comprehension was poor, he should just admit it. Why make excuses at the expense of his teacher? Su-hong asked what the situation was really all about, and the guy filled him in since he hadn't been there lately. Apparently, that violet-haired guy's teacher was the newly arranged instructor. He was very strong, but he looks down on commoners like them, and teaches classes very perfunctorily. The violet-haired guy, Li Yan, being his disciple, was also very strong and shared his teacher's disdain. Li Yan raised his fist and comments on how his opponent shouldn't have challenged him with his measly level. But before he could deliver his punch, Su-hong grabbed his hand and issued a warning for him to cut his assault short. Li Yan turned in Su-hong's direction and questioned who he was. If he had the guts, he should let go of him and get in the arena for a one-on-one challenge. But in that moment, the teacher in question walked in, wanting to know what the commotion was. The class was about to start. Li Yan freed himself and walked off, not forgetting to point out on how lucky Su Hong was. But Su Hong wasn't the least bit threatened and only saw how arrogant Li Yan was. Li Yan's teacher picked up a spear and informed the crowd that today was the last day he would be teaching them the Raging Sea Spear technique. His old rule was still in effect, so he would only perform it once. He then began to demonstrate the technique, moving with elegance and grace. As the bastard briefly stares at the crowd, he was so sure that none of them would be able to learn it with just a demonstration, or so he thought. Because Su Hong was not only planning to prove him wrong, but he intended on perfecting it by reaching the perfect realm as soon as possible. His eyes followed every small detail in the middle-aged guy's movements, and after the demonstration was over, the arrogant bastard drops his spear and walked off with Li Yan in tow. He informs them that he was done, and how much they learned depended on themselves. The crowd grew furious by this, claiming his teachings were a scam. How the hell were they going to learn anything from just one demonstration? And what's more, the back row couldn't even clearly see the demonstration at all. On the other hand, Su Hong seemed to have grasped the core concept of the spear technique, which was the spear being like a flood dragon treading the sea, and the momentum like endless giant waves. Su Hong took his stance and started performing the technique with ease. The fluidity in his movements dazzled the stunned crowd as they began to wonder just what kind of martial arts prodigy he was. Or is it that they were just too stupid to comprehend the technique in one demonstration? Su Hong's movement left no doubts that he hadn't just learned it, but probably mastered it as well. Li Yan heard the noise and came back to the training hall, questioning what the commotion was for. But upon hearing that someone had learned the technique, he asked who. The crowd simply made way as he watched Su Hong perform the Raging Sea Spear technique with ease. Now, even though Li Yan was stunned to see this, his expression remained the same. He decided to test Su Hong's depth on the technique, believing it would be interesting if he was really a genius. He called out to Su Hong and offered to give him some pointers. Being a training maniac, Su Hong naturally didn't refuse, even though he wasn't sure if there was anything to learn from Li Yan. His brown-haired friend warned him out of concern. Although Li Yan's character was bad, his strength was very high, so he shouldn't be impulsive. Su Hong assured him not to worry before taking his stance. He informed Li Yan to please enlighten him. But seeing Su Hong's confident demeanor, this arrogant fucker actually calls Su Hong arrogant before demonstrating the Raging Sea Spear technique at a micro level, but couldn't perform it well enough. Su Hong simply gave a helpless sigh, indicating that he had surpassed Li Yan before performing the technique at the proficient level. Li Yan couldn't comprehend how it was even possible for anyone to perform the proficient level Raging Sea Spear technique after a single demonstration. Su Hong's movement flowed like a surging tide, countering Li Yan's micro-level technique with an edge of superiority. Li Yan was frozen in disbelief, still unable to accept what he was seeing. A mere martial apprentice, someone who wasn't even a true martial artist yet, had actually cultivated the Raging Sea Spear technique to the proficient level. That was something even many seasoned practitioners couldn't achieve. Yet the scene in front of him was undeniably real. A system notification flashed before Su Hong's eyes. Defeated a higher-level opponent. Martial value plus 35. So it was just as he thought. Ordinary sparring could also grant martial value. That meant he didn't need to risk his life constantly. He could steadily grow stronger through proper combat. Meanwhile, Li Yan's mind was in complete chaos, unable to rationalize what had just happened. He had trained for years, yet Su Hong reached the proficient level in such a short time. Then what was the point of all his effort? The disbelief crushed him. Su Hong calmly withdrew his spear and walked off, believing the match was over. But it seems Li Yan had other ideas. Unable to accept his defeat, he charges towards Su Hong. But before things could escalate further, the instructor arrived. Seeing the situation, he immediately stepped in and reprimanded his disciple. When Li Yan tried to protest, the instructor's expression turned cold, and he bitch-slapped him across the face without hesitation. If Li Yan couldn't even face his own failure, then what kind of martial artist was he? Many onlookers felt a strange sense of satisfaction at the sight. Li Yan had always been arrogant, and seeing him humbled felt almost refreshing. Still, the instructor's gaze soon shifted to Su Hong, filled with disbelief. He had only demonstrated the technique once, yet this boy had already reached proficiency. Even the so-called geniuses of the imperial capital couldn't achieve something like that. Meaning, in simple truth, Su Hong's talent was frightening. The instructor calmly apologized for Li Yan's arrogant behavior, adding that meeting someone like Su Hong was also a form of fortune for him. He then forcefully made Li Yan bow in apology, claiming his disciples' behavior reflects his failure to teach properly. So Su-hong should please accept their apology. Su-hong was momentarily stunned. He hadn't expected the instructor to change his attitude so quickly. This prideful fucker switches faces faster than flipping a page. As he left the training grounds, fatigue finally caught up with him, but it was a satisfying kind of exhaustion. He'd gained far more than expected today. Not only had he mastered the Thunder Rush Fist and the Raging Sea Spear technique, but he'd also earned a considerable amount of martial value. As his thoughts drifted to the campus of Star City No. 1 High School, he quietly reviewed everything in his mind. The entrance examination was coming soon. The wealthy students were already preparing high-grade alloy weapons. If he wanted to compete, he needed one too. The feel of the spear still lingered in his hands. Su-hong decided to use the spear from now on, but he needed to find himself a proper alloy spear and fast. Su-hong also realized that the little money he had wasn't even enough to cover his aunt's medical expenses, let alone buy an alloy weapon that cost 69,800 yuan. Still, he refused to give up. There had to be another way. Just then, an announcement broadcasted from a television nearby drew his attention. It was about ferocious beasts which were appearing more frequently in the wilderness, and the city lord was recruiting martial artists to hunt them, offering generous rewards. Hearing this, Su-hong immediately understood. This was the opportunity he had been waiting for. Later, at home, his aunt was still busy as always. She told her man he shouldn't be working so hard, reminding him that Su-hong had already given them money not long ago. The uncle, however, said that as long as he could still work, he wouldn't rely on Su-hong, insisting on earning what he could himself. When Su-hong came in, he greeted them warmly. He told them to rest and let him handle things, saying that he could make money now. His uncle laughed and said that although it sounded nice, he couldn't just sit idle. He would still earn a little for daily expenses. His aunt smiled as well, saying they needed to save as much as possible so Su-hong could focus on cultivating in the future. Hearing all this, Su-hong felt a tight ache in his chest. His uncle and aunt had lived frugally for so long that unless he could truly earn enough for them to live without worry, they would never stop pushing themselves. That very night, sitting on the rooftop, he opened his status panel once more. He knew the wilderness was dangerous, and if he wanted to go there safely, he needed more strength. He decided to invest everything he had into improving himself. As he poured his remaining martial value into his vitality, a powerful sensation surged through his body. His blood roared, his muscles tightened, and his aura grew denser and more oppressive with every increase. The number continued to rise until it finally stopped at 95.2. Meditating beneath the night sky, Su-hong could feel the power coursing through him. His presence alone now carried the faint pressure of a ferocious beast ready to be unleashed. Su-hong silently noted that his vitality had reached 95.2, just one small step away from truly becoming a martial artist. 2 days later, late at night, he lay on the floor of the training hall, completely exhausted. Every part of his body ached, but his eyes were bright. His martial skills had all reached completion. The Thunder Rush Fist, the Raging Sea Spear, the Vajra Fist, and the Floating Light Palm were all perfected. He let out a long breath, thinking that he had finally done it. 2 full days of non-stop cultivation had paid off. Now it was time to move on. The next morning, he set out for the Star City Martial Artist Base. When he arrived, he couldn't help but pause in amazement. Even though he'd seen this place countless times on the news, standing here in person felt completely different. Martial artists were everywhere, filling the streets with a powerful presence. As he walked forward, his eyes swept over the pamphlet in his hands. Unranked Ferocious Beast cost 300 blue star coins, but a Tier 1 initial stage Ferocious Beast cost 1,000 blue star coins. Then a Tier 1 mid-stage cost 3,000 blue star coins, and a Tier 1 high stage cost 5,000 blue star coins. Reading the list, Su-hong frowned slightly. The rule beneath it stated that only the left ear of the beast would be accepted as proof. Without it, no reward would be issued. Su-hong was surprised by how crude and primitive the system was. Nearby, he noticed a young man at the counter telling the receptionist to help his calculate how much his hunt was worth. The man was carrying a sack that clearly contained severed beast ears. But just then, a commotion broke out at the entrance. Someone shouted for people to move aside, saying that young Master Yi had arrived. The crowd parted instinctively. Su-hong glanced over and immediately noticed the arrogant figure striding in. Something about the young blonde felt strangely familiar. His brows furrowed. That presence, it reminded him of White Fox from the underground arena. Anyway, whispers suddenly broke out around Su-hong, calling the young guy a poser, and claiming that if it weren't for his uncle being in charge as the base director, he'd have been beaten to death long ago. Another added that he heard the arrogant blonde got beaten up badly a few days ago. Though the rest were a bit taken aback by this news, they also believed it serves that arrogant prick right. And it's no wonder he's been keeping such a low profile lately. Su Hong listened quietly, then looked up again, his eyes meeting the other man's for a brief moment. Recognition flickered between them. The air subtly tightened. Su Hong couldn't help but think that the real danger wasn't just the ferocious beasts out there, but people as well. He reminded himself to stay cautious no matter what. As he was heading out, a guard glanced at him and commented, saying he looked young, and asked if this was his first time going into the wilderness alone. Su Hong just gave a short response and kept walking. Behind him, that person shook his head and muttered that it was another ignorant kid rushing to his death. Once inside the wilderness, Su Hong took in his surroundings. The forest was lush and quiet, almost peaceful. Still, he reminded himself not to let his guard down. He told himself he had to return with results. He couldn't afford to come back empty-handed. 2 hours passed as he moved deeper inside. He drank some water and frowned. He hadn't seen a single ferocious beast yet. It made him wonder if all the beasts near the outer area had already been cleared out. With that thought, he picked up his pace and headed deeper into the forest. Then suddenly, his expression changed. Right in front of him stood a massive ferocious beast. It was huge, its aura oppressive, and it looked exactly like the descriptions he'd seen in the textbooks. Su Hong instantly recognized the beast as a Tier 1 initial stage nether moonwolf. It stared at him with bloodshot eyes, baring its fangs as it let out a low growl. Clearly, it was hungry. As the beast tensed and prepared to pounce, Su Hong took a deep breath and steadied himself. The wolf lunged forward with its sharp claws, but Su Hong reacted instantly. He dodged to the side and drove a thunder rush fist straight into its abdomen. The impact sent the beast flying, its massive body slamming into a tree with a dull crash. The wolf collapsed, barely able to move. Su Hong stood there, his fists still crackling faintly with electricity. He looked down at his trembling hands, feeling the lingering power surging through his body. He couldn't help thinking that fighting real ferocious beasts felt far more exhilarating than anything else he had experienced. And taking down a Tier 1 initial stage beast in a single blow made his blood surge with excitement. If he could handle this so easily, he wondered how he would fare against a Tier 1 mid-stage beast. Just as that thought crossed his mind, a sudden movement caught his attention. From the shadows behind him, a massive figure emerged. A low, menacing growl rolled through the forest as a huge silhouette stepped into view. It was another beast, far larger, far more dangerous. A Tier 1 mid-stage ferocious beast, a raging black bear. The bear charged, clearly believing it had found an easy prey. But before it could land its attack, a blur of motion struck it head-on. A powerful, lightning-infused punch slammed into its body, sending it crashing to the ground. Su Hong stood tall, calm and steady. It was his punch that had dropped the beast. He exhaled slowly, realizing just how much his strength had grown. With his current power, as long as he didn't encounter a Tier 2 ferocious beast, he wouldn't be in much danger. With the left ear of the beast in hand, Su Hong had secured another reward, a 3,000 yuan in bounty. And as that thought crossed his mind, a system notification appeared, informing him that his accumulated martial value was now sufficient to break through and officially become a martial artist. Su Hong's heart raced. He was finally at the threshold. But before he could celebrate, a terrifying roar echoed through the forest, far more oppressive than anything he'd felt before. The pressure alone made his skin prickle. His expression changed instantly. He turned toward the source of the sound, eyes narrowing. Whatever had made that roar was far stronger than anything he had faced so far. Curiosity and caution battled in his mind, but in the end, curiosity won. He moved carefully toward the source. Soon, he reached a massive rock formation and climbed up to get a better look. What he saw made his eyes widen as his breath also hitched. Below was a colossal figure, a massive black-scaled serpent facing a group of hunters. This was a Tier 1 late-stage ferocious beast, the black jade python. Its body was enormous and its aura was terrifying. Nearby, the hunters already fighting it were clearly losing badly, and one by one they were sent flying, completely overpowered. Su Hong stared at the scene, his heart pounding. This was on an entirely different level. He instinctively felt a sharp sense of danger. Almost instantly, he leaped aside, and it was the right call. The massive beast struck where he had just been standing, the spiked tail slamming down with terrifying force. But the creature clearly wasn't satisfied. It hated that its prey had escaped. Su Hong barely had time to land before he had to leap again, narrowly avoiding another sweeping strike. Even so, the sheer speed of the attack still grazed him, sending a jolt through him as his body was sent flying. He realized just how fast this creature truly was. As he steadied himself, he noticed a dead hunter nearby. Pushing aside his own pain, Su-hong grabbed the dead guy's weapon. He muttered that he'd borrow it for a moment and turned back toward the beast. The massive python reared up, jaws opening wide as it prepared to strike again. Su-hong barely avoided the attack, rolling away just in time. As he regained his footing, his thoughts raced. A Tier 1 late-stage Ferocious Beast normally required several martial artists working together to take down. Yet he had already reached the point where he could fight one head-on. He realized this was because all of his martial skills had reached the perfected state. Using his perfected void step, he darted around the battlefield, dodging the beast's attacks with blinding speed. Then he launched a counterattack, driving his spear forward with the Raging Sea Spear technique. The strike pierced the beast's hide, drawing a furious roar from its throat. The python thrashed violently, enraged by the pain. Su-hong didn't relent. He struck again, his movements fluid and precise, forcing the massive creature into a frenzy. Still, he knew the truth. Its body was enormous, and landing a single decisive blow wouldn't be easy. The difference in size made it difficult to strike a fatal spot. As he maneuvered, he reminded himself to stay patient. He needed to weaken it first and wait for the right opening. Just then, the beast lashed out again, its massive body crashing toward him with an overwhelming force. In response, Su-hong unleashed a perfectly executed thunderous fist, and the explosive force collided head-on with the beast's attack, stopping it in its tracks. The shockwave rippled through the air as both figures staggered back, the battle far from over. Su-hong knew that once he landed a successful strike, he couldn't afford to linger. He had to immediately pull back, widen the distance, and look for another opening. One mistake would be fatal. That was the price of facing a creature like this. He could feel his breathing growing heavier with every exchange. Fighting this way was exhausting, but it was also the safest option he had. Still, as the battle dragged on, even he could sense his stamina starting to dip. At the same time, the black jade python wasn't faring much better. Its movements were becoming sluggish, its breath rough and uneven. Su-hong realized that the beast was also nearing its limit. Just a little more, he thought. If he can keep this up a few more rounds, he can finish it. He steadied himself, preparing for the next exchange, fully focused on the beast in front of him. Then, without warning, a dangerous chill ran down his spine. Something was wrong, and before he could react, a violent force slammed into him from the side. The impact sent him flying, his body crashing hard against the ground. His breath was knocked out of him in an instant. He forced himself to roll over, shaken all over as the impact seemed to have rattled his bones. He realized too late that he'd been ambushed. Struggling to his feet, he demanded to know who it was. Then, ahead of him, several figures stepped forward. Su-hong's eyes narrowed as he recognized the group. His heart sank slightly. The leader of the group, that arrogant blonde, laughed loudly, clearly enjoying the situation. He mocked Su-hong, asking how it felt to be caught off guard, and suggested that perhaps he should hand over the black jade python instead. Trouble had truly arrived, and now Su-hong was facing not only a wounded but still dangerous ferocious beast, but also a group of hostile martial artists. When the blonde guy first saw Su-hong daring to leave the city alone, he thought for sure he would die out there. But never did he expect Su-hong's luck to be this good. Not only was he not dead, but he also found a critically injured black jade giant python. As the blonde shifted his gaze to the ferocious beast nearby, it was on the verge of death. Meanwhile, Su-hong was quick to catch the implication of what the guy just said. Since he claimed Su-hong found the black jade giant python already close to biting the dust, it meant the group had just arrived and believed him to be weak. All 5 of them are martial artists and they have the numerical advantage. Obviously, it would be damn near impossible for Su-hong to fight them head-on, especially with his current state. Anyway, while he was still in thoughts, the muscle brute launched at him, questioning why he hadn't scrammed yet like his young master Yi ordered. Was he deaf? The black jade giant python now belongs to his young master. Pissed off, Su-hong's expression suddenly turned dark, his fist crackling with electricity and a faint red aura. He angrily declared that the muscle brute only managed to push him back earlier because of a sneak attack. And now he foolishly believed he was incapable of beating him and his team. Su-hong meets the incoming fist with a punch of his own, and as the two collided with a thunderous clash, the muscle brute was stunned to discern his opponent's terrifying strength. He had no time to dodge the next punch, which followed almost immediately after the clash, striking him right in the face. The force of the punch shattered his mask, revealing his widened eyes as he was put to sleep permanently. The rest of the team watched the musclehead got dropped with just a punch. Then the young master commends Su Hong for his excellent execution of the Vajra fist. Sure enough, Su Hong was definitely the Minotaur from the underground arena. A visible bead of sweat rolled down Su Hong's cheek as he also confirmed the blonde to be indeed White Fox. Young Master Yi partially covered his face with a hand, admitting that Su Hong was the first person to bring him such humiliation in front of so many people. The rest then charged towards Su Hong the very second their young master gave the order. They were to kill him, but before the three could gang up on Su Hong, he grabbed the borrowed spear and made a run for it, leaping over the small cliff and sprinting into the forest. And by the time the group made their way inside the forest, they lost sight of him. Anyway, since the woods ahead were dense, it was easy to get ambushed, so one of them warned the rest to be careful. But another in a red jacket retorts that there were so many of them so they can't actually be afraid of just one guy. In that precise moment, Su Hong appeared behind him like a phantom, and upon turning to see just a brief silhouette of him, he swiftly got dropped with a heavy punch, blood gushing out of his nose and mouth in his unconscious state. Young Master Yi cursed at the gruesome sight, silently wondering how Su Hong was so fast. The remaining three immediately placed their backs against each other, covering their blind spots. The hooded guy of the three calls out their leader, pointing out that Su Hong had used the thunderclap fist, and the echoes were 9, meaning it was at perfection, something that even rank 3 martial artists fail to do. But the blonde immediately tells him to pipe the fuck up. Inwardly, he was freaking out just like the ponytail guy, realizing that Su Hong had perfected his Vajra fist and thunderclap fist. He couldn't comprehend how it was even possible. Meanwhile, on a tree branch nearby, Su Hong watched the three silently. If he hadn't just tangled with the giant python and consumed too much of his vitality, he could have crushed the entire group head-on. Now, he can only look for opportunities to defeat them one by one. He suddenly threw his spear at them, not aiming at any of them exactly, but created the needed distraction upon landing. Su Hong used this brief opportunity to launch towards the weakest link of the three, the ponytail guy. He kneed the guy in the face, crushing his skull as blood splattered in several directions. The remaining two couldn't even catch the silhouette of Su Hong before seeing another teammate drop lifelessly on the ground like the others. And at this point, the hooded guy could no longer keep his cool. He started freaking out, suggesting they get the hell out of there because Su Hong was way too strong. But the young master dismissed the very idea, questioning if his teammate was kidding him. He planned on killing Su Hong right then and there, no matter what. Su Hong suddenly started encircling them, darting on the tree stems and branches at a terrifying speed. The blonde was in the middle of telling the hooded guy something when Su Hong's silhouette flashed in between them, and along with it, the hooded guy's head being crashed into the ground with a reverberating thud. The young master gritted his teeth in fear and confusion. Still mind-boggled, he cursed, unable to make sense of how much stronger Su Hong had gotten in just a few days. In that moment, Su Hong's phantom flashed behind him, but when he turned, he saw that the spear was gone. He cursed once more as Su Hong's phantom, once again, appeared from behind. But this time around, the blonde was quick to catch on. He turned very abruptly and locked onto Su Hong, his hand shining with a dazzling azure light. And as he yells, he questioned if Su Hong seriously thought he's got him beat. Using the void-shattering finger, the young master released an attack at close range. But Su Hong was fast enough to dodge to the side as the blue beam whizzed past him and directly hit a tree nearby, completely cutting it in two. As the tree falls, the young blonde started a frenzy attack, releasing the void-shattering finger in any direction he believes Su Hong might be. Meanwhile, as Su Hong darts around, he was amazed at such power being released and deduced the martial skills level not to be low in any standards. He also wondered whether it was B-class. But then the blonde guy suddenly made the dumbest move yet. He informed Su Hong that he'd memorized his face, so if he dare harm him once he gets back, he will definitely kill his whole family. And just like that, as if a switch had been flipped on within Su Hong, he spared no time charging towards the blonde idiot, who was saying that his uncle was a supervisor at the martial artist base. But he didn't even get the chance to finish off his threat, and was cut mid-speech as Su Hong suddenly appeared behind him with his thunderclap fist. He stated that he liked the idiot better when he was acting all high and mighty just now, but he made a fatal mistake threatening his family. The fist connected directly with the blonde's face, trashing him across the forest, then back of the cliff. The idiot crashed heavily onto the ground, creating a small cloud of dust and debris. As the dust settles, Su Hong approached him, his expression and aura like that of a ferocious beast. He reiterated that the blonde shouldn't have used his family to threaten him. Brutally battered and bleeding all over, the young master asked once again how Su Hong got so strong. It was impossible because he clearly wasn't even a martial artist. What exactly was he? The guy was deeply enraged by Su Hong that he didn't notice the black jade giant python looming over him like a grim reaper. And by the time he realized and turned, it was too late. In one swift motion, the black jade giant python swallowed him whole. Su Hong raised his spear and took on a fighting stance. He realized that he'd spent too much time fighting the group, thereby allowing the black jade giant python to recover its stamina. The three were extremely frustrated after getting beaten up so badly. The red jacket guy cursed and said that Su Hong was too weird, and another, the hooded guy, asked where their young Master Yi was and wondered if Su Hong had finished him off. Suddenly, they noticed Su Hong rushing straight toward them again and immediately braced themselves for another fight. The red jacket guy shouts that the brat finally came out, while the ponytailed guy added that he won't spare him this time. But Su Hong wasn't interested in fighting them at all. He keeps charging towards them with the black jade giant python in tow. It looks extremely angry, and in that moment, none of them can say a single word. The python immediately attacked, but Su Hong leaped aside with his spear in hand. Unfortunately, with the exception of the red jacket guy, the other two failed to react in time and got munched on in one strike. A notification appears, saying that Su Hong had gained 30 martial value for indirectly killing the two martial artists. The python then attacks the red jacket guy, who also fails to escape in time. Another notification appears again, saying that an opponent martial artist was indirectly taken down and 30 martial value was gained. Su Hong was a little surprised by this and thinks that he didn't expect to gain martial value in this way as well. And after going through so many battles, Su Hong's martial value was enough for him to break through and become a martial artist. However, the python attacked him once again. Su Hong leaped up once more to dodge the sweeping tail. He moves rapidly through the trees, which only frustrates the python further. No matter how hard it tries, it just can't catch him. While running, Su Hong keeps thinking that it would be perfect if he could find a safe place to break through. Then, as he moves forward, he suddenly spots something ahead. A small cave. It's exactly the kind of place he was hoping for. Somewhere he could stay safe from the python's attacks and focus on increasing his own power. As he spots the cave, he immediately heads toward it. The python is still right behind him, and just as it's about to strike again, Su Hong jumps straight into the cave. The python follows and tries to force its way in, but its massive body gets stuck at the entrance. All it can do now is roar in frustration while Su Hong calmly looks at his system. He checks his stats and sees his name, Su Hong, with vitality at 96, spirit at 23, physique listed as mortal body at 3%, and his martial skills all at the perfect level, including Raging Sea Spear Technique, Thunder Rush Fist, Vajra Fist, Floating Light Palm, and Void Step. His martial value is at 504. He immediately starts tapping the system non-stop, telling himself to go faster and faster. He wants to gain as much power as possible in the shortest time. He focuses on vitality, tapping again and again, feeling it surge through his body. He thinks that his whole body feels burning hot, like magma is flowing through his veins instead of blood. Soon, his vitality reaches 100. Even the python seems to sense that something terrifying is happening. At that moment, a notification appears saying he has broken through to Tier 1 martial artist. Su Hong thinks that he has finally become a real martial artist. He clenches his fist as aura surges through his body, looks at the python, and says that now it's his turn. The python feels genuine fear and tries to pull back, wanting to escape. But Su Hong doesn't give it the chance. He gathers his strength and throws an extremely powerful punch. The python, trapped in the cave, can't escape in time. The punch slams into it, and all it can do is roar as it's sent flying through the air. Can't believe how strong Su Hong has become in such a short time. But Su Hong isn't done yet. He forms another fist and launches another Vajra fist attack, jumping onto the python's tail and using it as a foothold. He pounds it into the ground with continuous punches. Smoke fills the area, and when the dust finally settles, Su Hong is standing triumphantly on top of the giant python. His martial value increases by another 92, and Su Hong says that even though the giant python was already heavily injured, he can now face its attacks head-on. Then, as he sits there, he wonders about the reward and says that hunting ferocious beasts usually requires cutting off the left ear to exchange for money. But snakes don't have ears, so he doesn't know what to do. After thinking for a moment, he decides to forget about it and just hurry back. As he starts moving away, the forest is now completely quiet. Only traces of destruction remain, and all the chaos from earlier is gone. Su Hong keeps moving forward and looks at the idiots who tried to gang up on him and ended up like this. He says that they got off easy. While walking, he thinks about whether he can find that high-level martial technique the other guy used. Soon, he notices something and says it's the void-breaking finger. He comments that this is really interesting. He decides to stay near the cave for a while, lighting a fire and sitting beside the python's body. He starts studying the technique and says that he has already memorized the entire introductory cultivation method for void-breaking finger. Next, he plans to use the system to master it quickly. As he continues practicing, a clone soon appears for him to fight. The clone immediately uses void-breaking finger again and again. While battling it, Su-hong's mastery increases rapidly, reaching 51%, then 63%, 77%, and 93%. Soon after, void-breaking finger enters the basic realm and starts charging from 1%. However, Su-hong is clearly exhausted. He keeps coughing and says that, as expected of a B-rank martial skill, even learning it to the basic realm puts tremendous pressure on his body. The technique's guidance tells him to go find a monster to test its power. 3 days later, Su-hong faces a massive roaring monster, a huge bear. Using void-breaking finger, he fights it head-on and eventually takes it down. After the battle, Su-hong says that he has finally reached the perfect realm. He adds that this power is truly worthy of a B-rank martial skill. A notification appears, stating that void-breaking finger has been mastered and reached the perfect level. Su-hong then says it's time to go back. At the martial artist base, a large crowd has gathered. One person exclaims in shock at a total of 230,000. Another says that the Thunder Squad is incredibly fierce for killing so many ferocious beasts. Someone else says that this single harvest matches several months of hard work. Yet another comments that it's amazing there isn't a single non-ranked ferocious beast, that all of them are tier 1, and that there are even a few high-stage ones. Then the receptionist looks up in shock and announces the results, saying there are 72 tier 1 initial stage ferocious beasts, 83 middle stage ones, 17 high stage ones, and a total reward of 406,000 blue star coins. Su-hong thinks that he might have taken down too many and that it's far too conspicuous. He feels that if he had known, he should have hunted fewer beasts. He can only hope this doesn't bring too much trouble his way. Everyone around completely loses their minds, going crazy over the numbers. Suddenly, people begin moving forward as Su-hong walks ahead. Some start shouting that the base has been attacked and wonder how that's even possible when there are so many high-level martial artists stationed there. The loud commotion soon reveals someone's arrival. First, a pair of hands comes into view, and then the person fully appears. It's Yi Chi, the person in charge of the base and Yifeng's uncle. He orders everyone to blockade the base immediately and not let even a single fly escape. Others respond at once, saying they understand and will do it right away. Soon after, another supervisor arrives and asks what happened. Yi Chi answers that his nephew Yifeng and the 4 martial artists with him are all dead. The crowd is stunned. Someone whispers in disbelief that Yifeng was actually taken down and that an entire group of 5 was wiped out. Another person quietly says it was a good kill and that everyone there has been robbed by Yifeng at some point. Someone else adds in a low voice that if not for Yifeng's background, he would have been dealt with long ago. Another mutters that the coward has finally been taken down. Yi Chi then announces that a B-rank martial skill on Yifeng's body is missing and orders that all martial artists be searched. He says no one is allowed to leave until all suspicions are cleared. Su-hong thinks that judging from the bodies, it's obvious they were killed by the giant python, so it shouldn't be traced back to him. But as the search continues and more people are checked, he starts to feel uneasy. He wonders if they might actually be targeting him, especially when he notices people glancing at him and whispering among themselves. Suddenly, Yi Chi walks straight towards Su-hong with his men. He speaks politely on the surface, saying he heard Su-hong killed ferocious beasts worth over 400,000 all by himself and praising his impressive skills. However, despite the calm words, the red aura surrounding Yi Chi makes it clear that he's in a very bad mood. It feels like he might have already sensed something. Su-hong remains calm on the outside, though. He knows he's much stronger now, and in his heart, he even wonders if he could take this man down if things truly turned bad. The uncle of that moron speaks up and says that he heard Su-hong took down ferocious beasts worth 400,000 credits all by himself and calls it pretty impressive. However, the woman beside him immediately questions it. She says Su-hong looks like nothing more than a rank 1 early stage at best and asks how he could possibly kill that many beasts. She accuses him of scavenging young master Yezpak and orders them to search him immediately. The moment she says this, 2 bulky men with fire gathering in their hands start walking towards Su-hong. One of them warns him not to resist or things will get ugly. In the next instant, though, one of them suddenly feels a spear pointed straight at his head. He asks what Su-hong thinks he's doing. Su-hong calmly says it's nothing and keeps the spear steady. Yi Chi is shocked and realizes he couldn't even track how fast Su-hong drew that spear. Su-hong then states that he is a student of Star City High No. 1 and asks if they really want to search him. Hearing this, Yi Chi hesitates. He thinks about how the principal of number 1 is famously protective of his students and not someone to offend lightly. At the same time, Su-hong is still highly suspicious. If the kid truly hunted all those beasts, then he's a genius. But if they're wrong and offend him, it won't be worth the trouble. He places a hand on one of the men, signals them to stop, and steps forward. He explains that his nephew was attacked and their family's secret technique was stolen, so he must find the culprit. He says he hopes Su-hong will cooperate. Su-hong responds that he only hopes they aren't accusing the wrong person. Yi-chi then offers 10,000 credits as compensation for the search and asks if that's acceptable. Su-hong counters with 30,000, thinking to himself that Yi-feng was killed by the giant python and that as long as they don't find the technique, they can't pin anything on him. Yi-chi agrees and accepts the deal. Su-hong opens his arms and allows the search. As they check him, the woman goes through his bag. During the process, Su-hong tells them to search carefully because he doesn't want any false accusations hanging over him. When the search is finished, the men report that there's nothing there. Yi-chi nods and orders them to give Su-hong the 30,000 credits and let him go. Su-hong thinks to himself that it's a good thing he cleaned everything up or he would have been in serious trouble today. Yi-chi then turns to the others and tells them to keep searching, saying that no one is allowed to leave until all suspicions are cleared. As Su-hong walks away, he thinks about his next steps. He plans to go shower and change, then head to the Martial Artist Association to register for the assessment. He knows he needs to get his hands on a guidance technique as soon as possible. Then at the Martial Artist Base's underground hotel, Su-hong checks his system and says that he has 534 martial points and didn't expect it to be that much. He says he's been so focused on training the world-shattering finger and hunting beasts these past few days that he never got the chance to use them. The status shows his name is Su-hong, vitality at 103+, spirit at 23+, physique at mortal frame 6%+, and martial arts including void-shattering finger, raging sea spear technique, thunderclap fist, vajra fist, floating light palm, and void step all at perfection. His martial points stand at 534. Looking at everything, Su-hong thinks that rank 1 early stage requires 100 vitality, while rank 1 mid-stage needs 200 vitality. He calculates that if he dumps all his martial points into vitality, he can increase it by 53.4, leaving him only about 40 points short of mid-stage. But he also realizes he hasn't upgraded spirit or mortal frame yet and wonders what effects they might have. He looks again and notes that his spirit is 23 and his mortal frame is at 6%. He thinks that he has plenty of martial points anyway, so he might as well see what happens. He starts upgrading his spirit, watching it rise by 0.1 again and again. After the upgrade, he says he doesn't really feel any different after raising his spirit. Next, he begins increasing his mortal frame by 0.1 repeatedly. This time, he immediately feels the change and says the strength increase is obvious, deciding to add some more. Soon, his martial points drop to 0. He then says that's enough for mortal frame and decides to put 200 martial points into vitality. After doing that, his physique shows mortal frame at 36.1%. He then says he'll dump the rest into spirit. As he does, a huge surge of red aura erupts around him and he says it feels like he has an endless supply of power welling up inside. After a while, his body gradually returns to normal. He lets out a breath and says he's glad he's back to normal because he wouldn't know how to explain it to people if he stayed stuck in that muscle-bound form. 1 hour later, at the Star City Martial Artist Association, a large complex surrounded by many tall buildings, Su-hong arrives and says he's there for the martial artist assessment. At the reception, the woman tells him that's fine and says a staff member will take him there shortly. Then, as a staff member leads him along, the staff member says that Su-hong is quite young and asks if this is his first time taking the assessment. He explains that to pass as a rank 1 martial artist, vitality needs to be at least 100 and combat power has to be over 1,000, and then wishes him good luck. Su-hong thanks him. Nearby, a few people start commenting quietly. One says that the kid came alone and doesn't even have a master with him. Another says he's probably just here to test the waters because of his age. Suddenly, Su-hong notices the crowd getting noisy. People are clamoring as a voice announces that Panjia has vitality 102 and combat power 992. And that he failed the assessment. The guy curses and says he was so close. Su-hong and the staff member enter the assessment area. A moment later, another announcement says that Li Ming has vitality 105 and passed, and that he will proceed to the combat power test. Li Ming is taken to a punching machine and throws a powerful punch. When the number shows 1763, he passes immediately. Someone comments that a combat power of 1763 is almost at the level of a rank 1 mid-stage martial artist. Another person asks if Jiang Ming from Raging Thunder has a disciple named Li Ming. Someone else realizes that Li Ming is Jiang Ming's disciple and says it's no wonder he's such a genius, especially since he was using Thunderclap Fist. Su Hong hears this and thinks that he thought Jiang Ming's disciple was Li Yan, wondering just how many disciples that man has. Soon after, a staff member comes over and tells Su Hong that he's next. As Su Hong steps forward for the examination, the guy before him thinks to himself that he's taking the assessment at this age because he's a genius. He admits that Su Hong is rare for being the same age, but still wonders how Su Hong could possibly compare to him. Suddenly, the crowd erupts in shock. People start shouting in disbelief, with some asking if the vitality tester is broken and how someone's vitality could be that high. The arrogant guy turns back in shock as the staff announces that Su Hong's vitality is 123 and that he has passed. The man mutters that it's impossible. He quickly tries to calm himself down, thinking that high vitality doesn't mean everything and that combat power is what truly matters. He still hopes that, at the very least, he can be number one there. Then the staff officer announces that the combat power test is beginning and Su Hong is led to the punching machine. As Su Hong prepares to punch, he thinks that he has already advanced to a martial artist and upgraded his physique, so his strength has increased massively. He thinks that using 40% of his power should be enough for the test, but then worries that if he goes too easy, he might fail the combat power requirement. To be safe, he decides to use 50% instead. He throws the punch with terrifying force. Even at 50%, the pressure is overwhelming. The machine is sent flying straight into the wall ahead and shatters on impact. The destruction is insane and everyone watching is completely stunned. No one can believe what they're seeing. One person thinks that he sent the tester flying with a single punch and that kind of power is terrifying. Another wave of clamoring breaks out even louder than before. Someone else realizes that Su Hong didn't even use any martial arts just now. Then a voice says that the standard combat power for a rank 1 high-stage martial artist is only 3,000 and that this result is simply unimaginable. Another person exclaims to a teacher that it's that kid again and calls him an absolute monster. The teacher responds that this explains everything. Later, inside an office, a woman is shown. She was Wu Linxian, the president of the Star City Martial Arts Association. She complains that the neighboring Yong City branch has produced another genius and brags about it every day. She wonders what they're so proud of and complains that if Star City doesn't produce a few geniuses soon, she's going to lose her job. Suddenly, a man rushes into her office shouting that a monster has appeared in the martial artist assessment. Because he's yelling so loudly, Wu Linxian turns around and glares at him, clearly startled. The man quickly explains that it's a rank 1 early-stage martial artist who sent the tester flying using nothing but raw physical strength and that his combat power reached 3,000. Even Wu Linxian finds it hard to believe. Still, she realizes that this might be exactly what she needs right now. At the Martial Arts Association Central Hall, the male receptionist informs Su Hong that he will take him to the second floor to register his identity as a martial artist first. Then they will go collect his allowance. Su Hong thanked him before Wu Linxian suddenly showed up, telling the receptionist that she would handle the rest personally. The guy was surprised by the president's sudden appearance before leaving. Wu Linxian introduced herself as the president of the Star City Martial Arts Association branch and asked Su Hong to follow her. Su Hong agreed, a bit taken aback that the president of the Star City Martial Artist Association personally wanted to have a word with him. Rumor has it she's a rank 5 martial artist, but she quite wasn't what Su Hong imagined. Inside her office, she confirmed that Su Hong was a student at Star City No. 1 High School. She comments that Li Xingshan, that old guy, tried to sell her a sob story earlier. Apparently, he said the school only produced 2 ordinary rank 1 martial artists this year. But Wu Linxian can't believe he was hiding such a huge genius. Su Hong asked for the reason he was brought to her office. He just came to register as a martial artist and to get his allowance and guidance technique. Wu Linxian told him to relax. She had already had his subordinates handle his ID and monthly allowance. And as for the guidance technique, she was going to teach him personally. Wu Linxian wanted to know how much Su Hong currently understood about the guidance techniques. The textbooks say that the spiritual energy of heaven and earth was divided by attributes. Guidance techniques were methods to absorb this spiritual energy to strengthen oneself. And to absorb spiritual energy of different attributes requires the corresponding guidance technique. Though what the textbooks say isn't wrong, the guidance techniques aren't merely cultivation methods. For example, the heavenly flame guidance technique Wu Linxian practice primarily absorbs fire attribute spiritual energy. While strengthening her body, it also imbues her attacks with the lethality of the fire attribute. If he can project the attribute attack outward, it can even increase his attack range. However, for a rank 1 martial artist, never mind wrapping his fist in the element, just being able to carry a bit of the attribute is already quite good. Su Hong was stunned to learn that the guidance techniques can be used to attack. He thought they were just methods for absorbing spiritual energy for cultivation. Obviously, the textbooks never taught him this. Spiritual energy has 7 attributes: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, thunder, and wind. Although every attribute has its pros and cons, if they're talking strictly about attack power, thunder is first, metal second, and fire third. But which specific guidance technique he can practice depends on his compatibility. Su-hong realizes that it wasn't like he can just practice whatever guidance technique he wants. Wu Linxian took out an orb and explained that it was a crystal ball for testing compatibility. The larger the glowing area, the higher the compatibility. Ordinary martial artists usually only have about 20% to 30%. Wu Linxian was around 80%, which was considered very high, but she feels a genius like Su-hong will definitely exceed 90%. Wu Linxian became a rank 5 martial artist at a young age. She's an absolute genius, yet she's only at 80%. If Su-hong can reach 90%, that would be too exaggerated. But to her absolute disbelief, the crystal ball was surprisingly full, shining brightly. A fire attribute with 100% compatibility. Wu Linxian asked Su-hong if he knew what this meant, and he replied that he didn't. Wu Linxian explained that it means Su-hong can absorb 100% of the fire attribute spiritual energy without leaking a single bit. Wu Linxian had 80% compatibility, so when she absorbs fire energy, she lost 2/10. And that's how she became a rank 5 martial artist and the president of the Star City Martial Artist Association. But when it comes to Su-hong, his future achievements will only be higher than hers. Wu Linxian never thought a small place like Star City could produce a monster not inferior to those in the Magic City or Imperial Capital regions. Su-hong believes that the fire attribute wasn't bad, but he still preferred the thunder attribute, then wondered if only he had the thunder attribute, but as if on command, the crystal ball showed the thunder attribute, stunning Wu Linxian once more. Su-hong pointed out the obvious, which stunned Wu Linxian into silence. He had the thunder attribute compatibility of 100%. Wu Linxian was finding it hard to believe what she was seeing. Was this for real? Dual thunder and fire attribute compatibility at 100%. Seriously, what kind of freak was Su-hong? Su-hong was simply a monster. But to Wu Linxian's horror, Su-hong's compatibility with the wind attribute was also 100%. Then about a few minutes later, Wu Linxian had been stunned too many times into exhaustion. She really couldn't comprehend how it was even possible, because apparently, Su-hong had all 7 attributes full. They were all at 100% compatibility. Wu Linxian even wondered if she was dreaming. She used to consider herself a top-tier genius. A 30-year-old rank 5 martial artist was rare as a phoenix feather. But when she was faced with an opponent who defies common sense, she realizes she was just an ordinary person. She also realizes that to defeat an existence that defies common sense, only those who were equally beyond common sense stood a chance. And Su-hong's existence was one that ordinary people cannot comprehend. Su-hong reiterated that all his 7 attributes were 100%, and if he only practiced thunder and give up the other 6, it feels like a huge waste. He was in a dilemma, so he boldly asked Wu Linxian for a copy of the guidance techniques for all 7 attributes. But Wu Linxian gave a harsh reality check, explaining that the human energy was limited. And even if Su-hong's talent was high, it was best to only cultivate 1 or 2. In the past, people tried to cultivate 7 guidance techniques simultaneously. But after decades of cultivation, they were still just rank 1 martial artists. However, Su-hong just replies that he can't decide right now, so he wants to try cultivating them all, then decide which specific one to focus on. Wu Linxian agrees to this arrangement, but warns Su-hong to absolutely not mess around, and shouldn't waste his talent. Also, if she recalls correctly, Su-hong's school's monthly exam was coming up. Su-hong confirms this and asked why the sudden interest. Wu Linxian replies that recently, friction on the All Heavens battlefield has been intensifying, and a great war between the myriad races and the human race could break out at any moment. Because of this, nations are investing massive resources to form genius training camps. Wu Linxian wants to recommend Su-hong for one, and as long as he takes first place in the school's monthly exam, she can give him a recommendation slot. Su-hong had heard of the genius training camp and had suffered firsthand of the War of Myriad Races. You see, during that War of Myriad Races over a decade ago, the young Su-hong lost all his relatives except for his uncle and aunt. Su-hong agrees and promised to definitely work hard. He also promised himself that he would never let his uncle and aunt suffer that tragedy again. He must become stronger and protect everyone around him. The scene shifted to that very evening at Su-hong's home, where he announced to his uncle and aunt that he had become an official martial artist. The two immediately broke into tears, excited that their little Hong had really succeeded. This was wonderful news. He had a bright future and was so capable. A rank 1 martial artists get a monthly allowance of 10,000. So his uncle won't need to work so desperately anymore. His uncle agrees, commenting that Little Hong is the pillar of their family now. He'll listen to whatever Su Hong says. Su Hong silently assured them not to worry. From now on, he will hold this family up. Late at night, Su Hong continued his cultivation, his eyes glowing with immense energy radiating off him in waves. He then took on a stance and punched the air as a small fire engulfed his fist, then immediately fizzled out into rising steam. He couldn't help wondering if what he just did was considered basic mastery of the guidance technique. And if it was, why didn't it have any power at all? The guidance technique section appeared on his system panel, so it looks like he did learn it, but the level was 1, which means it can be leveled up. Wu Linxian didn't mention this, but if the guidance techniques had levels, she definitely would have told him. Su Hong was left wondering if the guidance technique can only be leveled up by him using the system. Su Hong stared seriously at the glowing blue panel. He wondered how to upgrade guidance techniques and if they improved the same way as martial value. As he touched the window, a red warning flashed, insufficient martial value. Su Hong sighed. He decided to cultivate the other guidance techniques first and figure out how to earn more martial value later. He sat cross-legged on the rooftop, surrounded by books. Flames of spiritual energy burst around him, lighting up the area. Hours later, Su Hong's inner view showed 7 glowing points of spiritual qi. Each point represented a different technique, like thunder, water marsh, thick earth, and spirit wind. The 7 different attributes pushed against each other. Su Hong gritted his teeth, sweating. He understood why President Wu said a genius cultivating 7 techniques stayed tier 1 for decades. He continued to channel the power, trying to control the energy as flames rose around him. He noticed that while all 7 types of qi existed in his body, he could only use one at a time. A ball of fiery qi formed in his hand as he breathed heavily. The flames swirled in his hand. He realized that if he forced a second attribute, the forces would collide and cause a violent explosion. A huge explosion of energy shook the rooftop, making both attributes disappear. Su Hong narrowed his eyes. Could thunder and fire not be combined? Their natures felt similar, so why did they reject each other? He tried again. Thunderlight and fire sparks wrapped around his fingers. When the forces touched, another explosion burst out, scattering the energy. Sweating, Su Hong clenched his teeth and refused to give up. He yelled to try one more time. Flashes burst from the rooftop all night as he tried to fuse the attributes. At dawn, the building still glowed faintly from the sparks of Su Hong's non-stop training. Breathing heavily with sweat running down his face, he told himself he just needed a little more. Lightning and flame flickered in his hand. He stared at it, insisting he only needed a tiny bit more. Gritting his teeth, he shouted for the power to fuse. Lightning and fire wrapped around his arms as he forced the energies together. A bright flame exploded in his palm. After trying all night, he finally succeeded. He looked at the flame with relief. Straightening his clothes, he decided it was time to go out and test the power. At Star City's Citizen Martial Arts Square, a large plaza with a clock tower, training robots stood ready. Su Hong stood before a spider-shaped combat tester. He noted that he had switched to a tier 3 tester, hoping this one wouldn't break. Remembering that 50% power reached 3,000 previously, he decided to try 30% power first. He struck with his glowing fist. The result went above 2,300. He was surprised. At 30% strength, it should have been around 1,800, but it had increased by 500. He looked at the lightning in his hand. The power of thunder alone was already very strong. Then he clenched his hand to aim. He wondered how strong the fused thunder and fire would be. He then released the combined force. His punch smashed into the tester with overwhelming speed and power. The screen flashed 3041. Su Hong stared in surprise. It was far higher than expected. He muttered in shock, wondering how it passed 3,000. Rubbing his hands beside the damaged tester, he realized that 30% of his fused power already surpassed a tier 1 high-stage martial artist. He glanced at his status and sighed. His vitality was only 123, making the result even more terrifying. If the power was this strong with 2 attributes, what kind of strength would he have fusing all 7? The thought filled him with excitement. Watching the flames and lightning in his hand, he smiled. He decided to try fusing 3 attributes next time. Later, he lay flat on the rooftop, exhausted, shirtless and sweating. He breathed heavily as small lights floated around. Fusing 2 attributes was hard, but fusing 3 felt much harder. He had rearranged all 7 patterns repeatedly, but made no progress. Still, he imagined the power if he succeeded. He checked the system, wondering if leveling up his techniques would help. The screen listed his level 1 techniques like thunder, flame, and water. He remembered the monthly exam was tomorrow, and he needed to earn martial value. The next day, students gathered at Star City No. 1 High School. The principal walked onto the stage. The principal announced this exam was different. Due to frontline pressure, a special training camp would now be held yearly to select geniuses. He explained the camp had resources like powerful arts, rare pills, and grandmaster instructors. The top 3 students in the exam would join the Star City training camp. The students became excited, shouting about the genius training camp. Others were shocked that a Tier 7 grandmaster might teach, since their principal was only Tier 3. Su Hong stared ahead tiredly. President Wu had said if he got first place, she would give him a spot. But didn't the top 3 all receive spots anyway? A friend told Su Hong that Chun Shan and Li Tu were now Tier 1 martial artists, and others had learned Thunder Rush Fist. Su Hong looked confused. He had only missed 10 days, yet they had already broken through. He explained that the principal asked instructor Chin Tian to give private lessons. Now Chun Shan and Li Tu's vitality exceeded 100, and their Thunder Rush Fist could echo 3 times. Suddenly, Chun Shan and Li Tu walked forward. One said he wanted everyone to know who the real genius was. The other replied that he hoped he would stay confident after being beaten down. As the principal left the stage, instructor Chen Tian asked if he found the genius who used the 9 Echoes Thunder Rush Fist. Principal Li said he searched everywhere but didn't think the person was from his school. While talking, they heard noise behind them and turned. A man in a black suit approached with 2 others. It was Jiang Ming, Su Hong's spear teacher, with Li Ming and Li Yan. Jiang Ming joked, asking Principal Li why he looked so sad. The principal asked why Jiang Ming was there. Jiang Ming smiled, saying the students looked weak. He brought 2 disciples and suggested letting the first-place students spar with them after the exam. Principal Li's expression tightened. Jiang Ming had come to embarrass him. If he refused, it would admit his school had no talent. Jiang Ming said the students looked weak so he would understand a refusal. Instructor Chin Tian snapped back, asking if Jiang Ming was looking for trouble. Nearby, Jiang Ming's student Li Yan pointed at the crowd. He told his teacher there was bad news. Su Hong was here. Jiang Ming was confused and asked which Su. Turning toward the students, he recognized Su Hong standing at the back. Jiang Ming shouted in surprise, realizing it was that same little monster. Su Hong looked at them calmly with a faint smile. Jiang Ming stared in shock, sweating. He realized the kid they talked about was actually from No. 1 High School. He looked at his disciples, troubled. If Li Yan and Li Ming fought Su Hong, they would lose. He needed to avoid the match to save face. He quickly smiled, telling Principal Li not to be angry. He said he was joking, and there would be no competition, calling his own disciples trash compared to the students. Li Yan and Li Ming immediately conceded. Principal Li and Instructor Chun were furious, thinking these men were mocking them sarcastically. Soon at the arena, a loud announcement called for match number 666, Su Hong, to begin. From the stands, Su Hong's friend watched anxiously. He noted Su Hong's opponent was a quasi-martial artist, which was unlucky. He shouted to Su Hong not to push himself or get injured so early. The opponent, Chun Peng, stepped forward. He asked if Su Hong planned to walk down or be beaten down. He clenched his fist to charge confidently, but before he could react, Su Hong moved. He disappeared and instantly appeared in front of Chun Peng. With one clean strike, he sent Chun Peng flying. The impact flipped Chun Peng upside down, and he crashed hard onto the ground. Everyone stared in shock. One student asked when Su Hong became so fierce, while others were stunned silent. Su Hong stood calmly in the smoke. Everyone realized he had defeated a quasi-martial artist in a single move. Su Hong stood calmly over his defeated opponent. The crowd shouted in disbelief, wondering how he became so strong, with some suspecting he was already a Tier 1 martial artist. They announced the final match would happen next. In the stands, Instructor Chun stared at Su Hong, confused about where this student came from and why he missed private tutoring. Principal Li blamed himself for failing to notice him earlier. Principal Li felt he had wasted a talent by not training Su Hong sooner. Instructor Chun mentioned Su Hong looked familiar, but couldn't remember where he had seen him. They turned their attention to the semi-final match between Chun Shan and Li Tu, noting the winner would be decided soon. Watching the fight, they saw the two were evenly matched, making the winner hard to predict. On stage, Li Tu warned Chun Shan that since they both used the 3 Echoes Thunder Rush Fist, Chun needed his strongest move to win. Li Tu then attacked with full force. Li Tu charged, slamming his fist down explosively. Chun Shan shouted as he blocked, the impact blasting wind across the floor. Chun Shan's fist burst with flames. He yelled at Li Tu to watch closely, declaring himself the school's true number one. The students shouted in shock that Chun Shan had mastered attribute externalization. They recognized the powerful fire attribute, second only to thunder. Li Tu stepped forward with a smirk, energy flowing like water around his arm. He scoffed that attribute externalization was nothing special. The students gasped again, seeing Li Tu also had externalized attributes. His was metal, even stronger than fire in combat. Metallic chains swirled around Li Tu's fists as he dashed ahead to attack. His punches echoed 5 times. Chun Shan was shocked to see Li Tu unleash the 5 Echoes Thunder Rush Fist. A violent impact followed. Li Tu's strike blasted his opponent backward, sending shockwaves across the arena. Principal Li and Instructor Chun were stunned. Li noted Li Tu had hidden his strength, while Chun marveled that Li Tu mastered attribute externalization and the micro-level Thunder Rush Fist in just 10 days. Principal Li said the final was pointless. Su Hong couldn't beat Li Tu's metal attribute. Chun sighed, saying Su Hong might have had a chance if he knew a guidance technique. Jiang Ming confidently bet 50,000 on Su Hong. Shocked, Li called him crazy for betting on someone without a guidance technique. Chun laughed, happy to take the easy money. The final battle began. Li Tu against Su Hong. Students cheered, some for Su Hong, others urging Li Tu to win. The fighters stepped onto the stage. Li Tu told Su Hong he was lucky to reach the finals without facing him or Chun Shan earlier. Su Hong remained calm. After hunting beasts, these students seemed weak, but Li Tu finally looked like a worthy opponent. Li Tu grinned, calling Su Hong the second strongest. Su Hong simply asked who the first was. Li Tu stomped the ground, declaring that he was naturally number one. He attacked, claiming one move would show the huge gap between them. Students panicked, seeing Li Tu use the 5 Echoes Thunder Rush Fist immediately. They feared it was already over for Su Hong. But Su Hong's eyes glowed with golden light as power built up inside him. Flames burst from his fist as he charged, wanting to test the limits of his physical body. The crowd screamed that Su Hong was crazy for meeting the attack head-on instead of dodging. Their fists smashed together explosively, shaking the ground. They clashed repeatedly, sending energy bursts through the air. Su Hong met the thunderous attack directly. Li Tu was shocked that Su Hong stopped his 5 Echoes fist instantly with just 5 punches. They fought on, fists colliding in a storm of blows amidst whipping energy chains. Li Tu gritted his teeth. Every punch from Su Hong felt overwhelmingly heavy, like fighting a monster. In the stands, a teacher exclaimed that Su Hong was evenly matching Li Tu without using any martial skills. His friend shouted that his strength was terrifying. The officials were stunned. Chun guessed Su Hong had a special physique. Principal Li laughed, proud the school produced such a genius. However, Chun noted that despite Su Hong's strength, Li Tu's condensed attributes still gave him the edge. The clash sent both sliding back. Su Hong steadied his flaming fist, while Li Tu was forced back several meters. Angry, Li Tu shouted that he would win. Blue lightning surged around his arms as he powered up. He lunged, fists wrapped in energy chains, demanding Su Hong accept defeat. Su Hong realized Li Tu was no longer holding back and was attacking at full power. Since Li Tu went all out, Su Hong decided to show some respect. Flames burst from his fist as he sprinted to meet the attack. Lightning burst across the arena. Li Tu yelled in shock, realizing Su Hong could also use attribute externalization. Principal Li and Instructor Chun trembled as golden lightning filled the arena, leaving them speechless. They were stunned Su Hong had mastered the Thunder Guidance technique. Chun explained that a special physique combined with the Thunder attribute made him terrifying. Su Hong and Li Tu clashed again, causing lightning and chains to explode everywhere. Li Tu realized with alarm that Su Hong's Thunder attribute was stronger than his own metal attribute. Lightning coiled around Su Hong. He told Li Tu that since he revealed his ultimate move, he would answer properly. Su Hong's eyes glowed gold. He announced his ultimate move and charged using the Thunder Rush Fist. His strike landed explosively. The impacts echoed rapidly, driving Li Tu back as 9 echo bursts blasted across the arena. 9 echoes impossible, Li Tu shouted. Blood burst from his mouth as he crashed to the ground. Su Hong stood over him, thunder still crackling around his fists. The students fell silent, their faces frozen in pure shock. Someone finally asked if he won. Excitement erupted as they realized Su Hong reached the perfect realm. 9 echoes surpassing even the teachers. Instructor Chun stuttered in disbelief. Principal Li trembled, declaring Su Hong not just a genius, but the dragon of Star City High. Chun wiped his sweat, imagining how devastated other geniuses in the training camp would be facing a monster like Su Hong. As Su Hong walked away, Chun admired him. He said a golden carp transforms into a dragon when it meets the wind. Star City was too small for him. Principal Lee agreed. He predicted Su Hong would rise like a dragon, shining brightest in the imperial capital and the battlefield of 10,000 races. Anyway, Su Hong heads back home where his uncle had just finished making a simple dinner. He immediately asked how the exam went. With a grin, Su Hong said he'd taken first place in the monthly exam. His uncle stared at him for a second, then burst out in excitement. They were still celebrating when loud knocking suddenly hit the door. A woman's sharp voice came from the hallway, asking if this was Su Hong's home. Su Hong opened the door, confused. His uncle and aunt stood just behind him, peeking out cautiously. Outside stood a well-dressed woman covered in expensive jewelry. She introduced herself as Lin Nan's mother. She explained that only the top 3 students could enter the training camp. Her son had ranked 4th. Then she got straight to the point. She wanted Su Hong to give up his spot. She calmly pulled out a stack of cash and said she was offering 30,000 if he stepped aside. Su Hong and his family just looked at her. No one reached for the money. They looked more confused than tempted. When she saw that the cash wasn't working, her tone changed. She said the training camp was brutal and that people could die there. She added that with their poor background, it would be smarter to quit early. Other students, she claimed, had high-grade pills and resources that Su Hong could never afford. Her words made his aunt uneasy. She asked Su Hong quietly if it was really that dangerous. His uncle rubbed her back, trying to calm her down. Then he turned to Su Hong and seriously asked if he could truly promise he'd be safe. Su Hong stepped forward and said clearly that he could guarantee his own safety. The woman let out a mocking laugh and asked the uncle if he actually believed a kid's promise. His uncle didn't hesitate. He said Su Hong was grown now, and there was no way he'd trust a stranger over his own family. The door shut behind her. From the hallway, she shouted that they were just waiting to get eliminated at camp. Inside, things slowly settled. His uncle asked Su Hong if he had hidden how dangerous the camp was. Su Hong told them it wasn't a big deal and that he could handle it. His uncle gave him a big thumbs up. He admitted he was just an ordinary man, but if Su Hong had the courage to face something like this, then the family would back him all the way. Suddenly, his aunt smacked his uncle on the back, telling him to stop making it so dramatic. She said they didn't care about rankings or glory. They just wanted Su Hong safe. Su Hong nodded with a warm smile, hearing that made him feel lighter. Later that night, he stood alone on the rooftop looking over the city lights. He knew that even though his uncle and aunt said they supported him, they were still worried. He quietly promised himself he wouldn't let them down. If he wanted to protect their new life, he had to get stronger. He opened his system interface. He had gained 285 martial value points from the monthly exam, but it didn't feel like enough. His mortal body stat was at 36.1%. Thinking about the powerful geniuses at the training camp, he decided to focus on strengthening his body first. He started adding points to the mortal body stat. A red glow surrounded him as the percentage slowly climbed. When it stopped, steam rose from his body. His mortal body had reached 64.6%, still far from 100%. He wondered what kind of special physique he would unlock once it was complete. Then he noticed something unexpected. Both his Thunder Guidance Technique and Heavenly Flame Guidance Technique had quietly advanced to level 2. He realized he'd only practiced them casually for a few days. Maybe there weren't any special requirements. Maybe steady practice alone was enough. Curious, he decided to try leveling them again right away. Lightning gathered in one hand. Flames burned in the other. He focused and began training through the night. By dawn, sunlight spread across the skyscrapers. Su Hong opened his eyes after a full night of cultivation. Fire and electricity swirled faintly around him. A notification appeared. Both techniques had successfully advanced to level 3. He checked his stats. His vitality had increased by 3 points, reaching 126. His mortal body remained at 64.6% and his martial value points were completely used up. Later that morning, he stood outside the apartment building with his weapon over his shoulder, ready to leave for the training camp. His aunt looked at him anxiously and told him to stay safe. She added that if things didn't go well, he could always come home. His uncle quickly told her not to say things like that. He waved at Su Hong enthusiastically and told him to go win another first place. Su Hong smiled, agreed, and started walking down the quiet street. Once he was a distance away, his uncle's brave front faded. He stood there shaking slightly as he watched Su Hong leave. Tears streamed down his face. His aunt teased him, asking if he wasn't just as worried as she was. He admitted he was. He said he just didn't want Su Hong to carry their fear with him. Meanwhile, As Su Hong walked down the street, his senses picked up movement. A red sports car suddenly turned the corner and stopped sharply beside him. The window rolled down. President Wu Lingxian sat inside, wearing sunglasses. She told him to get in. Soon they were racing down the highway. Su Hong asked why she had come to pick him up personally. Without taking her eyes off the road, she said she had a few important reminders about the training camp. As president, she knew the details about the other participants. She told him that a few students were already Tier 1 high-stage martial artists and were close to Tier 2. Their martial skills were at least B-ranked. Su Hong listened calmly. He knew Tier 2 required 200 vitality points, which was a big gap from where he stood. Still, he wasn't worried. Even if they had B-rank skills, his system would let him learn high-level techniques quickly. Wu Lingxian continued, saying that while his talent was the best she'd ever seen, he lacked the resources those wealthy students had. She added that even if he failed at camp, he shouldn't feel discouraged. Surpassing them would just be a matter of time. Su Hong thanked her sincerely and called her sister Wu. She glanced at him briefly. Even after hearing about the gap between him and the others, he remained completely calm. She figured his mindset wouldn't be a problem at all. A while later, a black van drove through the treacherous curvy road of the Tianlin mountain range. Inside the vehicle, Li Tu and Chen Shan were in shock after realizing that the training camp was set in a place where ferocious beasts gather in droves. Principal Li calmly assures him not to worry, explaining that the entire camp was overseen by grandmasters, so there was no life-threatening danger. Meanwhile, Su Hong, deep in thoughts, was fully aware that the Tianlin mountain range stretches across multiple cities, including Star City and Yang City. Spiritual energy was dense there, and ferocious beasts were everywhere. Deep within the mountains hide beast kings comparable to rank 7 grandmasters. Even a Tier 1 beast on the outskirts is far more dangerous than those found elsewhere, and ordinary rank 2 martial artists would not dare to enter lightly. As the van continues forward, elsewhere deep within the forest, several pairs of glowing red eyes track the vehicle's movement. Back inside, Li Tu comments about how he feels that something is watching them, and Chen Shan, who also grew uneasy, worriedly asked whether anyone thinks a ferocious beast might suddenly pop out of nowhere and attack them. On the other hand, Su Hong remains silent, sensing how brutal this environment was. He understands that the training camp's competition will just be as brutal as the beasts slaughtering each other. A small smile tugged on his lips as he realizes he actually enjoys this kind of atmosphere. The van soon arrived at a fenced camp where dozens of students have already gathered. After getting out, Chen Shan wonders aloud how strong the other participants might be. This comment didn't go unnoticed as the crowd suddenly singled out the new participants who just arrived. Unlike Su Hong, Li Tu and Chen Shan were a bit nervous. Su Hong took the lead, his spear on his shoulder as he told the two they should head out. But an official calmly stops them in their tracks, before informing them they needed to wait until all participants arrive before the entrance assessment begins. Hearing about an assessment, Su Hong watches as several luxury cars drove into the camp, and among them, one had a very distinct red color. As they all came to a screeching halt, the 3 students of the big families got out, and all the attention quickly shifted to them. Xiao Nan, known as a spirit master, appears alongside Lin Xinghe of the Lin family, who was rumored to be close to Tier 2. At the front stands the city lord's son, Wang Tiantuo, often called the barbarian god. He possesses a special physique and extremely high fire attribute compatibility. Anyway, as the 3 aura farmed for the crowd, Su Hong studied them quietly, wondering if these are the top geniuses Wu Lingxian mentioned. A faint smile crosses his face as he waits to see what they can really do. The official steps forward and announces the rules. The training camp lies 30 kilometers deep within the Tianlin mountain range. Certain ferocious beasts carry special tokens inside their bodies, and only those who obtain a token can enter the camp. Everyone has 8 hours to reach the destination. Whispers spread through the crowd. Going that deep within the mountain range means encountering powerful beasts, and if something goes wrong, people could die. While many grow uneasy, Su Hong stays calm. In his view, 8 hours is more than enough time to hunt extra beasts and earn martial value. When someone asks what happens if they run into beasts far beyond their level, the official replies that they should consider themselves unlucky and eliminated, though rescue will eventually come. Complaints immediately erupt with students arguing that the rules are unfair and depend too much on luck. The official's expression turns cold as he reminds them that the world is not a game of house. On the all-heavens battlefield, a stronger expert could kill them instantly, and no one would listen to protests. If they want to survive, they must act carefully. Overpowering the weak and winning through numbers are realities of the battlefield. A student in formal attire mocks the protesters, calling them trash who should quit early. An angry participant points at him and challenges him to repeat it. The guy had no problem calling him a coward and even threatening to cripple him. The official interrupts and makes it clear that violence is forbidden inside the camp itself. But once they enter the mountains, there will be no interference. Snatching tokens or settling grudges is entirely up to them. The two hostile students continue glaring at each other. Watching all this, Su-hong quickly realizes that the camp is designed to push participants into fighting. By his estimate, more than half of them will be eliminated under these rules. Another thought surfaces in his mind. Fighting these students could bring him a huge amount of martial value. The official checks his timer, which lets out a loud beep, then announces the start of the assessment, ordering everyone to move out. The students rush forward in a chaotic wave, disappearing into the dense forest of the Tianlin mountain range. Not far inside the woods, the rivalry between the guy in a suit and his challenger finally explodes. The guy in a suit mocks his opponent and tells him to come over if he wants to be sent packing. His opponent, burning with anger, shouts that if he wants to be eliminated so badly, he will grant his wish. He rushes forward with a flaming fist and yells that he is finished. The guy in a suit answers with a punch wrapped in cold blue energy. The two forces crash into each other, triggering a violent burst of light and wind that rips through the surroundings. Then a rapid exchange follows as blue energy surges repeatedly, gradually overpowering the flames in a string of heavy impacts. High above on a thick tree branch, Su-hong stands quietly, watching the fight unfold. He had wanted to witness the strength of these so-called geniuses for himself, but what he sees leaves him disappointed. The clash is flashy yet far from impressive. In his mind, even if he defeats them, the martial value gained would be minimal. After a brief glance, he turns away, planning to hunt stronger ferocious beasts instead. Below, the guy in a suit starts mocking his opponent, saying that a pauper will always remain a pauper and questioning what hard cultivation can achieve compared to a family's generations of wealth. His opponent angrily tells him to shut up and stop dragging working-class people into it. The guy in a suit laughs and repeats the insult. The words make Su-hong pause mid-step. He slowly looks back, annoyed with the constant yapping, and on second thought, he decides that he wouldn't let this free martial value be wasted. He drops from the tree and lands smoothly in front of the two fighters. Telling them to stop fighting, he speaks in a calm and steady tone. Both participants stare at him in confusion. Standing there with a thick wooden club in hand, Su-hong casually suggests that they fight him instead. The guy in a suit grows irritated and calls him another pauper, warning that he will end up beaten as well. The other participant questions Su-hong's level to even dare interrupt them. Su-hong calmly tells them they misunderstand him. What he meant was that the two stop fighting each other and team up against him. The ill-tempered participant suddenly charges at Su-hong, infuriated that he was being looked down upon. Su-hong raised his leg, sidestepped, and kneed the guy in the gut. The poor bastard gasped in pain, his widened eyes highlighting his disbelief as he got trashed across the small space like a bullet, crashing into a tree. His opponent in a suit watched in utter speechlessness, unable to comprehend how it was even possible. The guy's strength was on par with his, yet he lost in a single move, meaning his defeat was also certain. He turned sharply in Su-hong's direction and immediately noticed his impressive footwork. It was fast, and with his wooden club inches across his face, there was no dodging as he too got knocked out with a single brutal strike. He lost consciousness before he even hits the ground. Su-hong towered them with his club resting on his shoulder, commenting that this was exactly what happens when people look down on ordinary cultivators. Elsewhere, inside a monitoring room, the staff watched everything on a huge digital screen. One guy pointed at the display and asked where Su-hong had come from. He showed up in the middle of a heated duel and knocked out both guys. Another asked if the two unconscious participants on the ground counted as eliminated. Their supervisor explained that they did not. Since neither of them had asked for rescue yet, the test would keep going. Back in the forest, the cultivator in the suit slowly woke up. He held his aching face and noticed the other fighter sitting nearby. Instantly, he pushed himself backward and yelled for the man to stay away. Then he looked toward the direction Su-hong had left and cursed that guy, saying he would definitely take revenge later. The short-haired fighter also sat up, looking annoyed. He said the loss only happened because he had underestimated the opponent. In his opinion, losing to a kid like that simply didn't make sense. For a while, the two former rivals sat quietly, staring at each other. Eventually, the short-haired fighter spoke first. He apologized for what he had said earlier and admitted the other man was actually strong. The cultivator in the suit responded the same way. He said the short-haired fighter also had impressive strength and apologized for mocking him earlier. After sharing the same embarrassing defeat, the two of them shook hands. Soon they were standing with their arms around each other's shoulders, calling themselves brothers. They quickly came up with a plan for revenge. The abandoned wooden club nearby would be perfect for giving that kid a few solid hits to release their anger. Meanwhile, Su Hong ran through the forest at high speed. Suddenly, he stopped when a group of Tier 1 initial stage giant-toothed wild boars rushed out from the bushes. Seeing them again, Su Hong muttered that he had run into another pack. He wondered how many of these creatures he had already seen in the Tianlin mountain range. The boars charged toward him with heavy pounding steps. Su Hong's eyes flashed with a golden light as he launched his Thunder Rush fist, 9 echoes sending yellow lightning bursting forward. The attack cut through the group in a massive golden blast of energy. When the dust cleared, system messages appeared around him, informing him he'd gained 32 martial value. Su Hong thought about how defeating martial artists used to give dozens of points. Now the rewards were getting smaller as his strength increased. He shrugged it off and decided the real goal was finding tokens. He started cutting open the boar carcasses, remembering that the dozen beasts he killed earlier hadn't carried any tokens either. After wiping the blood from his hands, he confirmed that none of them had one. Su Hong concluded that only stronger beasts probably carried tokens. Half an hour later, he moved deeper into the forest, jumping between trees while searching the area. When he first entered the 5-kilometer zone, he could find more than a dozen low-level beasts every hour. Now he couldn't see a single one. At that moment, a massive Tier 1 high-stage Netherknight black tiger suddenly lunged out with a loud roar. Su Hong quickly avoided the attack and recognized the beast right away. Blue energy gathered around his finger as he used Void-Breaking Finger. The strike landed directly on the tiger. The beast cried out as the force smashed it into the ground, cracking the earth beneath it. To finish the fight, Su Hong thrust his spear straight into the tiger's head. A message appeared, martial value plus 35. Su Hong commented to himself that with his current strength, defeating a Tier 1 high-stage beast felt extremely easy. He then searched through the tiger's stomach and finally pulled out a red and gold token covered in blood. Looking at it, Su Hong remarked that it had taken almost 3 hours just to find a single one. Thinking about it, he compared the situation. Low-level boars appeared everywhere, while high-stage beasts like this tiger were rare. The stronger beasts gave more value, but there were far fewer of them. After considering it for a moment, Su Hong decided that quantity was the better option. Hunting lots of weaker beasts near the outer areas would let him gather martial value much faster. With 5 hours left in the assessment, Su Hong headed out again. His plan was simple: push his mortal body to its limit before time ran out, leaving behind a clearing full of blood and beast carcasses as he walked away. The forest clearing was filled with the bodies of fallen wild boars. Blood stained the ground, and the air carried the heavy scent of battle. Suddenly, a huge bear burst out with a thunderous roar and rushed straight at Su Hong. Its eyes glowed with a faint red light as it swung a massive claw toward him. The attack missed. While moving around the beast, he noted to himself that after fighting dozens of Tier 1 ferocious beasts, he had finally run into another Tier 1 middle stage one. Bright orange flames began to gather around his fist as he prepared to strike back. Su Hong jumped high into the air and drove his flaming punch straight into the bear's open mouth. Fire and force burst out at the same time. In the reflection of the bear's golden eye, Su Hong could be seen descending again for the finishing strike. He dropped down with full force, slamming his weight onto the beast. The impact shook the ground violently. Moments later, the huge body stopped moving. Su Hong stood over the defeated beast and took a moment to think. Ever since his mortal body reached 60%, defeating a Tier 1 middle stage ferocious beast with pure physical strength had become possible. He glanced down at his hands and clothes, both covered in blood. Then he opened his system interface to check his progress. After calculating the numbers, Su Hong noted that he had already gained 254 martial value points. He still needed a little more than 100 points to fully max out his mortal body. Looking at the remaining time, Su Hong saw that over 3 hours were still left in the assessment. He picked up his spear, ready to continue hunting and gather enough martial value. Right then, several thunder-like booms suddenly echoed across the forest. Su Hong immediately looked toward the sky. Sweat formed on his forehead as he asked out loud what kind of noise that was. Above the forest, a massive golden bird with glowing wings flew across the sky, its enormous shadow covering the land below. Su Hong stared at it and wondered what kind of ferocious beast it could be. After watching it for a moment, he guessed that it might actually be the legendary Golden Rock Beast King. The giant bird released a sharp, piercing cry. With a powerful flap of its wings, a huge shock wave spread across the forest. Trees bent and snapped while dust rose everywhere. Su Hong planted his spear into the ground and held on tightly to keep his balance against the powerful force. Watching the scene, he commented to himself that the Beast King's strength was terrifying. Even a simple flap of its wings had created such an enormous shock wave. A violent crash echoed as a massive tree split apart, its trunk snapping under immense force. Su Hong leaped onto a broken stone as a shock wave rushed past. Wind roared around him while he steadied himself, looking to the sky and wondering what beast could cause this. Pressed against a cliff, sweat on his face, he admitted he'd grown complacent. Faced with such overwhelming power, he realized he was just an ant to top-tier experts. Then his eyes widened. He saw something else approaching high in the air. The Golden Rock Beast King hovered on spread wings. A second figure approached, also shining with golden light. It was rank 7 Grandmaster Qin Tianli, wrapped in a fierce flaming aura. He announced himself as Qin Tianli, saying he was borrowing the territory, and asked why the Beast King returned. The Golden Rock Beast King swooped down, claws extended. It shouted it never agreed to lend its territory. Qin Tianli shot forward like a golden firestorm. He yelled he would beat the Beast King until it agreed, and the two forces collided in midair. The rock's wings flashed gold as it twisted. Qin Tianli's punch exploded against its feathers, and the beast beat its wings again with a sharp cry. Light spiraled around it, forcing Qin Tianli back with a shock wave. He steadied himself, irritated by the noise. Yelling the rock was too noisy, he rushed in again. A rapid series of impacts followed. Explosions of golden force repeatedly struck the beast, lighting up the sky as they clashed violently in midair. Qin Tianli's punch smashed into the Beast King's head, sending feathers and blood scattering. The impact forced the massive beast backward. Floating calmly in his golden aura, Qin Tianli spoke with an icy voice. He declared he was borrowing this land and ordered the beast to leave, warning it not to make him repeat himself. The beast screeched angrily as it flew away, yelling for Qin Tianli to wait. Qin Tianli waved dismissively, telling it to get lost. As the beast disappeared, Qin Tianli took a slow breath, golden light swirling around him. His voice echoed across the area. He announced he was rank 7 Grandmaster Qin Tianli and told the trainees not to panic as the assessment would continue. Far below, Su Hong looked up in shock, watching golden rings of power spread through the sky. He wondered if this was the true strength of a rank 7 martial artist. Clenching his jaw, with determination in his eyes, he vowed that he would reach that realm one day. High above, Qin Tianli descended toward the base. Below, the crater-like area was filled with buildings for the assessment. Hovering above the officials, Qin Tianli complained the beast should have just agreed. He only wanted to borrow the territory for a trial, but it forced him to fight. The staff stood at attention. Among them, rank 5 martial artists Lin Zi and Bai Mu spoke in admiration. They noted Grandmaster Qin was more fearsome than rumored, having beaten the famously tough Golden Rock Beast King. Qin Tianli brushed off the praise and ordered them to the monitoring room. He wanted to see which trainees withstood the Golden Rock's pressure earlier, and the staff followed. Inside the surveillance room, the monitors showed trainees collapsed from the shockwave. Lin Zi explained that most were unable to move under the Golden Rock's aura. Qin Tianli stared in surprise. On one screen, a trainee knelt beside dead black tigers, remaining calm under the beast's pressure. "Who is that boy?" Qin Tianli asked. Bai Mu checked the documents. Wang Tiantuo, a tier 1 high tier with blood chai 340 and 95% fire affinity. He has the barbarian god physique and is the Star City Castellan's son. Qin Tianli raised an eyebrow, noting the Castellan treated having children like lottery tickets and had finally produced a good one after 100 tries. Another trainee appeared, using incredible speed to escape the pressure zone. "Impressive movement skills," Qin Tianli commented. Bai Mu identified him as Lin Xing He, a tier 1 high tier from the Lin family with blood chai 325 and 96% wind affinity. The footage showed a girl using a glowing barrier to shield herself. Qin Tianli noted she was a spiritual telekinetic, skillfully using her power to resist the pressure. Bai Mu identified her as Xiao Yan, a tier 1 mid-stage telekinetic from the Xiao family with blood chai 290 and 95% wood affinity. Qin Tianli nodded, noting these three easily handled the pressure and outmatched their peers. He asked for other talents. Bai Mu listed more names from the Lin and Wang families, hesitating as she realized all the top performers were from Star City's famous families. Qin Tianli frowned. Bai Mu explained the dozen on the list all had tier 2 combat power and withstood the aura. He questioned why every standout was from a major family, asking about the students from the schools, especially number 1 high. Bai Mu explained the school students were only tier 1 early stage, with the 3 from number 1 high having just broken through. Qin Tianli waved his hand dismissively, saying he wouldn't bother looking and that number 1 high was unworthy of its reputation. Then Lin she shouted in shock, pointing at one person on the screen. All three looked up. The screen showed Su Hong cutting down a beast. They were shocked he still had the strength to hunt after experiencing the Golden Rock's pressure. Bai Mu trembled and stuttered. That Star City number 1 high's monster. Lin she scolded her, telling her not to make a fuss in front of the Grandmaster. Qin Tianli was silent, but after Lin she glanced at the report. He also began shaking and repeated with wide eyes, "Monster." Qin Tianli glanced at them, reminding the 2 rank 5s they should have seen plenty of geniuses. He asked why they were making such a fuss, awkwardly adding that their temperaments weren't steady yet. But when Qin Tianli read the report, his own eyes widened in shock. He screamed internally, wondering if the boy was even human. The report showed Su Hong's profile 18 from number 1 high, tier 1 early stage 123. He had perfected a C-rank art, and his physical strike produced 3004 combat power, rivaling a tier 1 high level. He also likely had a special physique, a 100% affinity for all 7 elements, and was cultivating all 7 simultaneously. Qin Tianli trembled, muttering in disbelief that such a freak came from a place like Star City. He wasn't a once-in-a-century talent, he realized, but a once-in-a-millennium rarity. His shock turned to joy. Clenching the paper, his eyes glowing red with excitement, he shouted, "I've struck gold." Then he paused, confused. He demanded to know why someone so talented was only tier 1 early stage with blood chi 123. Bai Mu quickly explained that Su Hong was cultivating all 7 guiding techniques at once. Grandmaster Qin erupted in frustration. "No wonder he's so low," he said. Cultivating 7 techniques at once was a doomed path, even for an immortal. He questioned how Su Hong could advance at all, growling that the local martial arts association president should have stopped him. Just then, a staff member reported that trainees were arriving at the camp. Qin nodded and said they would go take a look. Outside, the first 3 trainees greeted him. Wang Tiantua saluted, addressing himself as a junior. Qin praised the 3 of them as very good. 6 hours into the assessment, more students staggered toward the camp. Some complained they nearly died, but another reminded them they had faced the Golden Rock Beast King. After 7.5 hours, more trainees gathered. As Qin watched, some early arrivals said there was no one left and suggested ending the assessment. Another scoffed that anyone still out there must be weak. But Grandmaster Qin wondered where Su Hong was. He worried his newly discovered freak was lost, a hint of panic on his face at the thought his precious treasure might be eliminated. A few minutes later, Qin finally spotted a figure leaving the forest. He sighed in relief, thinking the brat had finally shown up. He stepped out of the woods, dragging his spear, his clothes covered in dirt and blood. He muttered that he'd made it in time. Having been so focused on earning martial value, he almost forgot the deadline. As he entered the camp, trainees stared in shock. One whispered Su Hong was ruthless. Another noted he wasn't injured and wondered how many beasts he had killed to get so dirty. The 2 men Su Hong had embarrassed earlier glared at him. One shouted he'd been waiting for him, but the other stopped him. "Don't rush," he said. "We'll have plenty of chances inside the camp." Nearby, the 3 elite trainees watched Su Hong. One called him an expert for passing at the deadline. Another found it interesting. Wang Tiantua, eyes closed, simply nodded. As the sun set, Instructor Lin Zi stepped forward and announced the 8-hour limit was over. Anyone not present was eliminated. He then began to introduce the camp's facilities and rules. Instructor Lin introduced the major facilities, which included a gravity room, a movement skill training room, and a Ferocious Beast combat room. He pointed to a large building, the Martial Arts Pavilion. There, trainees could use contribution points to buy martial arts, pills, and weapons, some as high as a rank. Hearing this, a blood-covered but calm Su Hong sat among the trainees. He thought that coming here was the right decision, but Instructor Lin then explained the rules. All facilities required contribution points to use. The only way to earn points was by passing training subjects. Outstanding performance would earn extra rewards. As the sun set, he dismissed them. He told those with energy to start training and the injured to follow him to the dorms to rest, vowing no one would die under his supervision. Su Hong entered his dorm and was surprised to find it was a single room. He realized he could now cultivate and level up without being seen. Later, he sat cross-legged on his bed and opened his status screen. It showed his stats. Blood Chi, 126, Spirit, 26.5, and Mortal Body, 64.6%. His Thunder and Heavenly Flame guiding techniques were level 3, and his 3 martial arts were at perfection. He had 354 martial value. Taking a calm breath, he decided to use all of it to upgrade his mortal body. A surge of power erupted around him in red flames. Countless glowing notifications appeared, each showing his mortal body increasing by 1 as the red energy strengthened him. Finally, a message appeared. His mortal body reached 100% and was now evolving. His eyes snapped open, glowing with crimson light as his breath surged like a storm. Su Hong's physical evolution began, causing intense red energy and glowing nodes to map across his newly strengthened body. He meditated on the floor of his dorm room while a fierce vortex of spiritual energy swirled around him. As the process finished, he let out a sigh, with steam radiating off his refined form. Inspecting his physique, he was amazed by the sheer overwhelming power his physical body now possessed. His system interface appeared, revealing that he had unlocked the Overlord body, which the system described as the existence with the strongest physical strength in the world. He noticed that the physique was currently at rank 0%, meaning it could still be upgraded. This left him wondering what kind of heaven-defying form it might evolve into next. Eager to test the limits of his extraordinary new body, he grabbed his jacket and his black spear. However, the moment he gripped the spear's shaft, the metal crunched and cracked under his hand. He stared at the weapon in shock, realizing that his casual grip was now strong enough to snap a highly durable C-rank alloy. He briefly panicked, lamenting that C-rank spears were incredibly expensive and that he had just ruined a fortune. Fortunately, he quickly remembered that he had actually looted this spear for free during his time in the wilderness. Knowing his old equipment could no longer handle his strength, he decided he must gather camp contribution points as soon as possible to exchange for an A-rank alloy spear. Striding confidently out of his room into the hallway, he planned his next move, contemplating if he could easily earn those points by training with a weight vest of a few hundred kilograms. Inside the camp warehouse, a crowd of trainees gathered in awe around Wang Tiantuo. Despite carrying a massive 3,000-kilogram weight, Wang Tiantuo effortlessly leaped into the air. Watching from the sidelines, Lin Xinghe and Xiao Nan were amazed by his monster-like strength, noting that an ordinary Tier 1 martial artist could only handle a fraction of that load. Observing the warehouse feed from the monitoring room, Grandmaster Qin Tianli praised Wang Tiantuo's barbarian god body. The conversation then shifted to Su Hong. Bai Mu asked how they should address Su Hong's flawed path of cultivating 7 guidance techniques simultaneously. Knowing that directly confronting a proud genius would likely backfire, Qin Tianli decided to make Su Hong realize his mistake the hard way. Qin Tianli asked instructor Lin Zhe about the progress of a secretly planned night raid meant to ambush the trainees. Lin Zhe smiled wickedly, anticipating the despair of the students who mistakenly believed they could finally relax after the entrance exam. To execute his lesson, Qin Tianli specifically ordered Lin Zhe to send a powerful Tier 1 high-stage martial artist to overwhelmingly defeat Su Hong. Once Su Hong was utterly crushed, Qin Tianli planned to step in, explain the impossibility of his cultivation method, and force him to give it up. The staff worried that pitting Su Hong against an opponent with over 400 vitality and 5,000 combat power might permanently break his spirit given his much lower vitality stats. However, Qin Tianli coldly dismissed their concerns, stating that if Su Hong's resolve collapsed that easily, he was nothing but trash. Meanwhile, outside in the camp, Su Hong overheard other trainees rushing to the gravity room to watch Wang Tiantuo train. Preferring to avoid the crowd, Su Hong headed into the now empty equipment warehouse, planning to check out the commotion later. Inside the equipment warehouse, Su Hong picked up his smart scoring bracelet, confirming it was the device used to calculate his contribution points. As he explored the room, he walked past the lighter equipment racks and stopped in amazement at a rack holding 10-ton weight vests forged from super heavy alloy, wondering who could possibly wear something so heavy. Curious about his own limits, he tried on a 10-ton vest, but quickly realized the immense weight severely hindered his speed and stamina, making it impractical for long-term training. He decided to swap it for a 5-ton vest instead. After rapidly leaping around the warehouse to test his mobility, he concluded that the 5-ton load was perfectly suited for his current physical state. Thinking about his competition, Su Hong wondered how much weight Wang Tiantuo and the other top-tier geniuses chose to wear, assuming that since they were at the Tier 1 high stage, they must be at least as strong as him, if not stronger. Hoping to learn from their cultivation methods, he left the warehouse to go observe them. Outside, a large crowd was gathered in front of a pyramid-shaped gravity room. The trainees were astounded that Wang Tiantuo had entered the facility without taking off his 3-ton weight vest. A monitor displayed Wang Tiantuo straining inside the room under 2 times normal gravity, which the crowd noted effectively turned his 3-ton vest into a grueling 6-ton load. Standing at the back of the crowd with his arms crossed, Su Hong was genuinely surprised to hear that Wang Tiantuo's base vest was only 3 tons. Considering that weight to be incredibly light compared to his own comfortable 5 tons, Su Hong realized he had completely underestimated the sheer toughness and superiority of his newly evolved overlord body. Su Hong approached his former schoolmates, Chun Shan and Li Tu, and asked why they weren't going into the gravity room to cultivate. Looking defeated, the two explained that the massive gap in strength between them and the top-tier geniuses made them feel completely inadequate, and they feared the embarrassment of being compared to them if they trained right then. Su Hong sighed and patted one of them on the shoulder, disappointed that they would let their pride and fear of comparison stop them from improving. Ignoring their warnings to wait until the crowd left, Su Hong confidently walked toward the brightly lit pyramid-shaped gravity room. The gathered onlookers immediately began to mock him. Assuming he was trying to arrogantly surpass Wang Tiantuo's record, they called him brainless and shameless, especially since he didn't appear to be wearing a weight suit. Unbothered by their taunts, Su Hong stepped through the entrance, reflecting that such expensive, heavily funded facilities were usually restricted to elite aristocratic families. Making this a rare opportunity he refused to let slip by. Inside the high-tech room, Su Hong evaluated his limits. He calculated that because he was secretly wearing the 5-ton weight vest under his tracksuit, setting the room to double gravity would subject his body to 10 tons of force, a crushing load he could only endure for about 10 minutes. Deciding to pace himself so he could train for a longer period, he adjusted the control dial to 1.5 times normal gravity instead. Instantly, the increased pressure hit him and he grunted as his body strained to brace against the heavy, invisible force. Completely unaware of his hidden 5-ton vest, the crowd outside watched his struggles on the monitor and laughed. They mocked him for barely being able to handle a mere 1.5x gravity without any extra weights, cementing their belief that he was just weak, since he had been the last to finish the entrance assessment. Meanwhile, completely focused on his training, Su Hong sat cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by a fiery red aura. He realized that while the intense pressure made cultivating his guidance techniques significantly more difficult, the high-end facility was doing its job perfectly, as his cultivation speed had drastically accelerated. After enduring the intense pressure for 2 hours, Su Hong remained seated on the floor of the gravity room, cultivating while enveloped in a fierce red aura. Sweating heavily and pushing his limits, he focused on his training while his eyes glowed with a sharp blue light. His strenuous effort yielded significant results when he checked his system panel. He noted with satisfaction that his water, earth, and wind guidance techniques had all leveled up by 1, and his vitality had jumped from 126 to 130 points. Struggling to his feet, he finally turned off the gravity machine. Impressed by the room's effectiveness, he eagerly considered how beneficial the camp's movement technique and Ferocious Beast rooms would be. Utterly exhausted, he stumbled out of the facility, wiping the thick sweat from his face. Waiting outside, 2 other trainees immediately began to mock him. Still under the false impression that he had been training without weights at a mere 1.5x gravity, they laughed at his worn-out state, with one arrogantly boasting that he could easily sleep overnight in those conditions. Ignoring their baseless taunts, Su Hong simply complained about the boiling heat and terrible breathability of his gear before unzipping his tracksuit, casually revealing the massive 5-ton weight vest he had been wearing the entire time. Seeing the heavy equipment hidden underneath his clothes, the 2 mocking trainees were left completely paralyzed in shock. They were surprised when Su Hong removed his weight vest, assuming it only weighed around 500 kilograms. Despite acknowledging that his strength was passable for lasting 2 hours, they still looked down on him as he dropped the vest to the ground, insisting that he was nothing compared to the camp's top genius, Wang Tiantuo. Suddenly, a commotion broke out as the crowd noticed Wang Tiantuo finally exiting the gravity room. The trainees marveled that he had withstood 6 tons of heavy pressure for over 2 hours. Sweating profusely and panting, Wang Tiantuo stepped out while the crowd praised his physical strength as the absolute best in the training camp. He unfastened his heavy-weight vest and carelessly tossed it to the floor. The massive impact shook the earth, terrifying the nearby trainees. Relieved to be free of the immense burden, Wang Tiantuo massaged his sore shoulder and admitted the weight was incredibly grueling. Lin Xingyi then approached Wang Tiantuo, casually fanning himself, and challenged him to a competition in the movement technique room. Wang Tiantuo immediately declined, acknowledging that Lin Xingyi cultivated an A-rank wind attribute movement technique and admitting he would be completely foolish to compete against him in agility. Overhearing their conversation, Su Hong was instantly intrigued by the mention of an A-rank movement technique. Realizing that despite the immense raw power of his newly evolved overlord body, he still lacked high-level agility skills, Su Hong smiled, seeing a perfect opportunity to upgrade his arsenal. Following the crowd, Su Hong arrived at the dome-shaped movement technique training room, eager to witness the A-rank flying swan-startling cloud step for himself. Inside, the trainees watched the monitors in disbelief, noting that Lin Xingyi had confidently set the room's arrow-dodging simulation to its absolute maximum difficulty of level 10. On the screen, Lin Xingyi moved with blinding speed, effortlessly weaving through a dense rapid-fire barrage of flying arrows. He moved with such grace that he even closed his eyes mid-air, dodging the projectiles while mysteriously conjuring falling pink petals, leaving the audience stunned by his effortless showboating. Watching the spectacular display, Su Hong calmly praised the technique. Almost instantly, his system interface appeared in front of him, revealing that merely by observing the skill in action, he had successfully copied the flying swan-startling cloud step and unlocked it at 1% proficiency. Su Hong carefully analyzed Lin Xingyi's graceful movements. He stepped forward to test the technique himself, drawing the attention of nearby bystanders. The crowd immediately began to laugh and mock him, finding it ridiculous that he believed he could master a complex A-rank movement technique simply by watching it once. Ignoring their taunts, Su Hong's consciousness entered his system's virtual training space, where he battled against a simulated clone of Lin Xingyi. Through intense practice and dodging rapid attacks, his proficiency in the skill skyrocketed, quickly climbing from 8% all the way to 93%. A system notification soon congratulated him on officially reaching the basic level of the technique, and Su Hong stood triumphantly, thrilled to have acquired his first A-rank movement skill. As the system prepared to send him back to reality, Su Hong reflected that having to use Lin Xingyi's incredibly showy movements as a learning template was somewhat embarrassing. Satisfied that he no longer needed the movement technique room, he decided his next destination would be the Ferocious Beast room, where he could hunt beasts to earn martial value and increase his vitality. However, his train of thought was interrupted when he noticed the entire crowd staring at him and taking pictures with their phones, praising his dramatically flashy posture. To his absolute mortification, Su Hong realized that while he was training in his mind, his physical body in the real world had been acting out all of the exaggerated showy poses. Deeply embarrassed, he sprinted away from the area at top speed, ignoring the crowd's cheers, asking him to perform again, and silently vowed to never use Lin Xingyi as a template again. As he dashed off, Su Hong's sharp senses picked up the feeling of being followed. Trailing a short distance behind him were the student in the suit, now armed with a wooden club, and the rugged student he had defeated during the entrance assessment. Having tracked Su Hong's path toward the Ferocious Beast room, the two vengeful trainees plotted to block the exit and ambush him the moment he came out. Arriving at the large facility known as the Ferocious Beast room, Su Hong noticed a large crowd gathered outside. Near the entrance doors, he overheard a tense exchange between Wang Tiantua and Xiao Nan. Wang Tiantua laughed, noting that Xiao Nan wanted to compete with him in hunting beasts to determine who was truly the #1 trainee in the camp. Wang Tiantua arrogantly asked if she genuinely believed her spiritual telekinesis could defeat his barbarian god body, feeling underestimated. In response, Xiao Nan confidently retorted that he was the one underestimating the true power of a spirit master. Intrigued by the mention of a spirit master, a fighting style he had never seen before, Su Hong decided to delay earning his own martial value so he could observe her techniques first. Looking through the observation window into the simulated forest environment, Su Hong was completely shocked to see Xiao Nan gracefully walking down from the sky toward a pack of black tigers. He marveled at this, knowing that walking on air was a miraculous feat typically restricted to high-level grandmasters, and realized this must be the unique power of a spirit master. With a simple glowing motion of her outstretched hand, Xiao Nan summoned her power. Instantly, several streaks of blinding golden light shot forward, simultaneously piercing the skulls of 3 Tier 1 high-stage black tigers. Su Hong watched in awe as the beasts were killed instantly, wondering what the mysterious flowing light was made of. Suddenly, a massive, terrifying bear-like beast enveloped in a red aura roared and attempted to ambush Xiao Nan from behind. However, the beast was instantly stopped in its tracks, its eyes widening in shock. Xiao Nan used her spiritual telekinesis to forcibly lift and paralyze the giant creature in midair, leaving Su Hong amazed by her ability to effortlessly bind such a massive enemy. With a swift wave of her arm, Xiao Nan directed the golden light to cleanly pierce straight through the suspended beast's head, executing it on the spot. Observing the battle closely, Su Hong finally realized that the deadly streaks of light were actually daggers being manipulated remotely by her mind. Trembling with a mix of excitement and realization, Su Hong concluded that a spirit master's ability to walk on air, bind enemies, and telekinetically control weapons from a distance made them ridiculously overpowered, allowing them to easily crush ordinary martial artists. The crowd of trainees, along with Su Hong, watched the observation monitor in disbelief as someone questioned the sudden appearance of a colossal weapon on the screen. The feed showed Xiao Nan standing before a massive snake beast, effortlessly summoning a giant, glowing golden sword out of thin air. With a swift, commanding downward swing of her arm, the enormous golden blade dropped, slicing the giant snake cleanly in half. Observing this impossible feat, Su Hong was completely bewildered. He noted that she wasn't carrying any weapon earlier, and reasoned that a physical sword of that magnitude would weigh several tons, making it far too heavy to wield so easily. Stepping into the conversation, Lin Xingyi casually approached the group while fanning himself. He calmly clarified that the giant sword wasn't a physical weapon at all, but rather a highly advanced A-rank martial skill exclusive to spirit masters. Hearing this, the crowd was astounded that yet another A-rank skill had been revealed. Someone turned to Lin asking how all the top geniuses seemed to possess such rare techniques, and wondered if Wang Tiantuo had one as well. Lin Xingyi confidently confirmed that Wang Tiantuo did indeed possess a devastatingly powerful A-rank offensive martial skill, causing the surrounding trainees to despairingly call the elites heaven-defying monsters. However, rather than feeling intimidated by the massive gap in resources, Su Hong broke into an eager smile. Realizing that the training camp was overflowing with elite A-rank martial skills just waiting to be copied by his system, he happily concluded that coming to the camp was the best decision he could have made. The trainees watched the monitor as Wang Tiantuo obliterated a Tier 1 high-level Ferocious Beast with a single punch. They quickly realized that the elite trainee was relying purely on his immense physical strength rather than using any actual martial skills. Since there was nothing to copy from Wang Tiantuo at the moment, Su Hong turned away, deciding to find another opportunity to learn from him later. Inspired by Xiao Nan's display of power, Su Hong opened his system panel to check his own attributes. He noted that his spirit stat was only at 26.5. To become a spirit master, he needed his spirit stat to exceed 100, leaving him 73.5 points short. Calculating that he needed exactly 735 martial value points to bridge this gap, he gathered blue energy in his hand and eagerly resolved to go on a massive monster-killing spree to farm the necessary points. Meanwhile, the student in the suit and the rugged student were still secretly tailing him. They watched as Su Hong entered one of the testing arenas inside the Ferocious Beast room. Noticing that the rest of the camp was completely distracted by Wang Tiantuo and Xiao Nan's training, the two vengeful trainees concluded that no one would interfere. They decided this was the perfect opportunity to corner Su Hong inside and ruthlessly beat him up. As they prepared to ambush him, the rugged student suddenly cried out in alarm, prompting the suited student to nervously shush him so they weren't discovered. The rugged student pointed up at the large observation monitor mounted above the facility's entrance. The two stalkers were absolutely horrified by what they saw on the screen. Su Hong was casually standing in the arena, surrounded by a towering red-eyed bear monster, giant armored scorpions, and massive stone-skinned beasts. They realized in utter disbelief that Su Hong had simultaneously challenged more than 10 Tier 1 high-stage ferocious beasts at once, leaving them wondering if he had completely lost his mind.